to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Well, that's fast.
Yeah, wow. Oh, okay. I wasn't
Wow.
okay. Welcome back, everybody, to Show Business. We're here to talk about movies, news, and a whole bunch of numbers. Let's have some fun. I'm Lindsay of My 2 Cents of Nonsense, and to my right, from Willie Screedia, we got my good buddy Charles Bukowski. How you doing, man?
Hi. Still here. A little bit longer. I haven't packed a thing yet either, so it's gonna be a long 36 hours or so.
Hey, you got this, big guy. You got this.
Great.
But-
You're not an AI robot who talks in made-up podcasts. You're a real
You
person.
don't know that. Perhaps the technology is advancing. But hey,
Somebody wanted to.
And then to my right on the screen, but left in reality. Hello, sir.
Good evening.
Perfect.
We have way too much chill here. You guys are gonna have to fight for who's more chill.
I'm just gonna start having to do like a line of caffeine before we start going, or something like that, just to get the energy going up a little bit here.
Very-
Have a chill off.
Very good, Alonzo.
Ah,
That is a great way to start off the show.
Rest in peace.
Tony Todd was a legend, and every interview or any interaction I ever saw of him with fans or anything, he was also just like the nicest, chillest dude ever. And his voice is in way more things than I think a lot of us even realize, unless you really spend time on his IMDb page. Like the man, the myth, the legend, Tony Todd, you will be missed.
Indeed.
just an icon of so many franchises. Like,
Mhm.
man, that dude is awesome.
I selfishly hope that there was something that he filmed for whatever next Final Destination they were kind of throwing around, because he
Oh.
did play like the
I hope so too.
Death or whatever.
The
Yeah. But on the plus
Possible
side, if you say his
Grim
name
Reaper?
5 times in a mirror, he'll come back.
Oh, I
True.
hope so. That'd be
hope
so
that
great. After the show, I'll find out and I'll report back for everyone, just so we can clarify. But also in the chat, Alonzo Smith, thanks for popping in, dude. But we also got Sean. How you doing,
yet.
Sean? No airport jail yet. He's heading there though. Don't worry.
And if you're watching this at the airport, I'm not there yet. I live here. This is my normal surroundings. I'm coming back.
He keeps saying that. We'll see if it actually happens or not. But what's up to Manny as well, and Alex, and one more I missed one, and Adam. How you doing, Adam? Thanks for stopping
with
by,
the update
guys.
we needed.
All right.
Ooh.
Supposedly, he did complete filming on Final Destination 6. So, Charles, you
That's
get your
sick.
wish
Okay.
I'd rather him here, actually.
for sure. But
I don't want an Easter egg.
because we can't bring him back, your secondary wish. Oh yeah, at least we get to see him again.
Well, the thing
Like
is, we can bring him back, but whoever brings him back dies because they then get killed by the Candyman.
Worth
But
it.
so
Makes
it's
it
a
little
trade-off. One of the
So
weirdest jokes of the night.
to better news,
Woo!
the weekend. Speaking of
That
not
was.
dying,
Indeed.
Venom.
Oh, somehow holding on.
Yeah,
I mean, it's doing its
Venom-
thing.
it retains first with 16.225. Best Christmas pageant ever. In second, temporarily with 11.1 million. Heretic in third with 11.01. I would imagine those two would flip flop because those are estimates.
Yeah,
Wild
Certainly hope
Robot.
so.
Wild Robot, ridiculously so, in fourth with 6.65, and Smile 2 rounding out the top 5 with 5 million. And you look at all those numbers, the percentages from last week, nothing's really dropping off that heavy.
No.
No,
Like, 11
even Conclave's.
Yeah,
only-
Conclave 19%
19.
in sixth. Like that's silly.
Wait, so what weekend for Smile is this now? 4, 5, and it's still hanging on with $5 million post Halloween. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
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 The big question for me though is how much is best Christmas pageant ever gonna linger around. Like that trailer like hurt my soul. Like not only is it one of those trailers that you feel like you've seen the entire movie once it's all said and done, but it also just looks so cliche and so corny. And like I guess that's what some people want when they go for a Christmas flick. They want that same kind of story of family and togetherness and helping out the little guy. But I don't know, man. I feel like I've seen this movie 18 times and I don't even watch these kinds of movies.
I'm not a fan of doing Christmas movies in the first half of November.
Yes.
Like
Also
if you want to do it Thanksgiving weekend or maybe like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, like you have Thanksgiving dinner Friday night, you go out and have like the official kickoff. You go shopping in the morning and then you go see whatever the hell the new Christmas movie is at night. That's when it's
so you
okay.
don't view it like pumpkin spice. It's not just like a seasonal thing that you can
No.
do, 4 months of the year. Let's have a Christmas movie.
No, I remember when Surviving Christmas came out with James Gandolfini and Ben Affleck, and it was mocked mercilessly
Rest in
because it
peace.
came out in October. And I enjoyed that movie, but it was out in October and out on DVD in time for Christmas. And
Perfect. Got you.
Don't encourage them.
And now you can give it to somebody else. That sounds great to me.
no.
I will say, just for the record, I am a huge Judy Greer fan. She can turn not good things into great things very easily. She's incredible.
Love
but
her.
I just, I don't know, man. I just don't. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see if this is the big moneymaker of the season.
What
or
if her
not.
God is bigger than your statistics?
I mean, I hope it is.
Could
Like,
be.
because statistics are just like tiny little like fractions of like numbers inside of a computer. Like theoretically, God is like really big, man.
I don't remember what movie she was in where she had that painful line. Where she
Was it one of the
turned around-
Halloween movies?
No,
Yeah.
unfortunately not.
Oh no, it
to
was
say
our
because she gets
favorite
so much work.
15, 16
One
to
of the
Paris or
actors?
17, 18 to Paris or something like that. She was the like the parents for one of the kids, and she's like, my God doesn't end at your school or something like that.
My God is bigger than your statistics, is what she said. It was something
Oh,
about
was that
like
what-
math,
yeah.
and it was ironically so. Where it's like it's going to have to be pretty big because statistics are literally numbers.
Well, you can do anything.
Wasn't that one
so-
line I saw in that one movie where the mother parent type person said, "Now get in the house so we can celebrate Jesus."
That's pretty good. Though.
Did she say that line?
I don't think it was her. I think it was the lady that married the Kennedy guy, RFK.
Oh,
What is
Oh,
what's her name?
going to
I
tell
love
us
her.
about being healthy. Oh no, I got tricked into that. No,
Did
She's
you?
my woman now.
Oh man, I can't. We're
Come
gonna
on,
have to
this
say
is-
that voice.
no.
Okay,
No,
okay,
tonight.
yeah, okay.
No, she's in movies. It's great.
No,
not
she is in
tonight.
all of the movies.
And she's great in them. I love her. She's the best wife Larry David could ever have.
Very talented. Very
Uh,
talented.
But,
Heretic.
Oh yeah, I was
Right now
just
is
about
in
to say.
Run amok.
Third place, fourth place, third
Third
place
for now.
Third.
For now.
But
That's
possibly
right.
second.
Yeah.
$84 separates them or something.
84,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. 84,000.
Some combination of numbers in 84 is the difference, and it's not insignificant.
The other one that you showed, so it might have just been a single day, but anyway, it was much closer, and I hope the estimates turn out a little bit more in Heretic's favor, because
I would imagine.
It would also be great if a movie called Heretic won out
Well,
for the Christmas movie.
So, wait, could you put it back up for a second,
yes,
Lindsay? So all right, maybe not. So the per theater average on Best Christmas Pageant is actually 36.75, but for Heretic is 34.20. So Heretic, so we're doing some more electoral college shit because it's on 3,200 screens.
versus 3,200,
Yeah.
3,020.
So
That was so
It'll
last week.
So,
Look, we
yeah,
only talk about the Electoral College once every 4 years. That's it. Okay.
so we'll have to see what Arizona has to say tomorrow morning.
Oh, geez.
Still too close to call.
Look, guys, Florida's going to ruin everything again. They do it
Heretic.
every year.
Heretic. I know it's my fault. I've been doing it. It's my fault. But
No, I mean we're
No.
allowed to get a little indulgent. I think just for just for the larfs.
I know.
The
Heretic
romance
though.
guy. The romance guy is in that movie.
yeah,
Love
Huggering.
Actually and all that other kind of stuff. And so, maybe people are more excited about seeing Hugh Grant do something outside of his character other than Munchkins and really bad candy movies.
Hey man, he
very
was in
possible.
Paddington too, and he had range. It was amazing.
He's still
And didn't
quite
he get
charming.
oh yeah. Didn't he get in super heavy makeup too for that Wachowski's movie he was in? Was it Cloud Atlas? Yeah, Cloud Atlas, right? The one with like the
Oh, yeah.
it showed like the
More
future.
propaganda talk.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, might be my favorite Hugh Grant performance. He owned the hell out of this movie. He was really, really good. Has everyone seen it? Is it just me and Charles?
No, I saw it as well. I think sadly only Rosales hasn't seen it yet, but
No,
he'll
I've
get
not
there.
been
He
indoctrinated.
he loves
so.
him some Hugh Grant.
He's got quite the smile. He's quite engaging.
It is a very good smile.
Very charming.
And when you take that
It's a
smile
disarming
and you put
smile.
it on a creepy person, it like enhances the creepiness.
Was he?
So did you
creepy?
find him super creepy? Like I was gonna say, he still has that boyish charm in this. Like he's bringing that Hugh Grantness to this very dark character and twistedness. So I don't know. I loved it. It seemed like it's something familiar with what he's playing, but man, it's a little bit bigger. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think this is the second time he's done horror because like the other one was I can't remember, something of a white worm. It's like an 80s kind of take on a vampire flick, but yeah, that one was kind of interesting.
Cool. I did not hear about
Yeah.
that movie. I'm
Wow.
curious about it now, though. He was very
He's
off-putting.
exactly
That
the
might
villain in that one.
Oh.
So it is a little bit of a layer of the white worm. Thank you, Dice. You were awesome. I remembered it was something about a white worm. You never forget the white worm.
you never forget the right word.
Are we talking about RFK still?
Oh. But yeah, I think
But, like-
off-putting might be a better descriptor than creepy because like he's menacing later on, but in the beginning, like it's more like something is off and you can't really quite put your finger on it, at least for a little bit.
What does it mean that
Hmm?
there was a reveal that made you feel like he's even more nefarious? But I was like, oh, so two can play at this game. There was this polite lie that was done in the beginning. What on earth?
Yeah,
Oh.
what's happening here?
Oh,
It's the layer of the white worm.
Oh.
where it should have been a bit of a heel turn, and I didn't feel that way. Where it was like, yeah, touche. It's a little late in the movie to be discussing it, but someone
Are you like talking about when you start laying out his ideology a little bit
slightly before
or
that,
philosophy? Okay, slightly before that.
when people try to leave and they give something of a white lie, trying to be polite. Oh, we're being called back. We need to leave. And
Okay.
listen, they're they're being trapped, but
Oh yeah.
the way that it was presented was like, yeah,
Well, the way
maybe,
that
maybe
they
don't be the
specifically
phony.
in that scene where he keeps just saying, "Yeah, you can leave. Just go. It's fine. You can just go." But like he didn't elaborate on it, and it was just so simple and so a matter of fact and so throwaway. Like that again, it's that charm of Hugh Grant that really makes that so disturbing because like you buy that like he's just saying, "Yeah, just go," but like no, this entire scenario is wrong and off. I don't know. It every step of that performance really worked for me. Here we are at Marcy in Super Chat. Hey, y'all, just want to say hi to you too, Marcy. My mom and
hey,
I are going to see this movie later, so I'm not going to be here tonight. But I just want to say R.I.P. Tony Todd. Lastly, it's Yeah, man. He's gonna be very missed. I
sure.
hope you and your mom enjoy the movie though when you go see it. Hope
We're
we don't
trying to.
spoil anything for you.
We're gonna
Yeah, I
avoid
don't
spoiling
I
it.
don't think
So
we're gonna say spoilers. Like
Yeah.
nothing that the trailer didn't give away. The trailer kind of gave away the premise, so I think we can talk
Mhm.
about that. But I don't think we're gonna say the exact ending or anything like
No.
that. But
No. I mean, if we do get into that, we'll say spoilers first. But for right now, spoiler free. So the story of this movie is two girls,
One cup.
two,
2 girls, 1
in the
blueberry pie.
in the corner with you, sir, naughty boy. Two missionaries of the Church of Mormon are going around. I'm assuming Utah,
think that's the
doing
official name.
their Mormon thing. Church of Latter-day Christ of Jesus Saints, Bishops of Mary. I don't know. I can't keep them all straight. And we're getting to know them a bit and their worldview and how people make fun of them and don't really appreciate them, but they're like trying to do the best that they can. And then they go and they meet Hugh Grant and they're supposed to like try and convince him to join the church. And it starts off nice enough at first, but very quickly it's like, oh, this guy's weird and his house is weird and creepy things are happening. And it becomes a battle of ideologies. Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time.
yeah, that's mainly what I'd say in it. There's some more weirdness to it. The one thing that I'm going to possibly incorrect you. I know both of
Please.
the girls got to give their backstory. At one point, they both say that they're from Utah, but is it established that they're in Utah? I thought generally they go on like missions to other places, so I had no idea where this takes place.
It's
One's
probably
from
not actually in
Philadelphia.
Utah. Oh, it is one from Philadelphia. I missed that. Or did I
Yeah,
miss that?
the one with the black hair.
Well, originally,
Oh,
but
that's right. Okay.
yeah. Anyway, that's the one thing that I'm possibly incorrecting you on. But other than that, it becomes kind of this cat and mouse game, and they kind of set that up like in the trailer. Hugh Grant says like, "Would you like to come in? It's raining outside." Apparently, he requested more information on the actual, the Church of
Mhm.
Latter-day Saints or what Mormons.
Sure,
So
Mormons.
the missionaries are coming out there. Yeah, they say they have this rule that they can't enter a house unless there is a female presence. And it seems that he's able to use that Hugh Grant charm to kind of let them break their rules a bit, because as far as the rules go, even if somebody's in the other room, like it's supposed to be the exact same room. So
Mhm.
technically they shouldn't have gone in, and then from there it seems like it becomes a game of cat and mouse, and interesting in ways. It's not what I had kind of billed to me. I heard that it was like this indictment of specifically like the Mormon religion, and I did not find it that way. If they were
Oh.
trying to make it that, there's so many ways that they could have gone at that particular
Yeah.
denomination, and it didn't feel like that. Instead, it was more about belief in general. So I don't know. I kind of liked it as opposed to what I was kind of sold going into it.
I will definitely agree with that. Like this movie is definitely much, much more thoughtful than saying yes, God or no God. There's a lot more going on with this, and you could kind of interpret it a couple of different ways as to which answer it's giving, or if it even is giving an answer. Like at the end of the day, it just kind of wants to just have a conversation, which is kind of refreshing, especially because I mean I haven't seen Best Christmas Pageant ever, but I do end up usually seeing a lot of Christian propaganda-y films, so it's nice to see one that's just more contemplative. That's all I'm trying to say. I enjoy a movie that's not trying to just force feed you an answer.
I think there's many branches to this where like you could have the challenge of belief versus non-belief, but there's also how much I mean it's right down to what the hell? Right
He's
down
trying to
to
play an explicit video.
Oh geez.
right down to the them entering the
That's
house.
what
Like
came up on the IMDb. I apologize there. It's really the IMDb thing happening. So they put that on
No, I
there
believe you.
for the scene.
Yeah, wow, for the Heretic trailer.
Yes.
So that's the other thing too. Like, did you guys feel that this is a hard R? Because like
No.
it's definitely an R. It's got a couple of like bloody scenes, I guess, but it feels like they could have possibly gone for PG-13 in my opinion.
yeah,
What
if
was
you
there
avoid
an F-bomb? I don't remember.
I think a
there's
couple times there might be, but I think it's more just the blood.
Okay. Well, I mean, there is some blood.
it's knives penetrating skin, I think is part of
Okay.
why it would get that. penetrating and pulling.
No spoilers. But yeah, speaking of knives penetrating and pulling, pie plays a huge part in kind of that initial deception. So he has a pie scented candle and he uses the line of like, my wife's just in the other room making a pie. And I guess instead of popcorn buckets, A24 is selling blueberry pie flavored candles. And then at a lot of these screenings, like at Alamo Drafthouse, during like that part, all of a sudden all the staff comes in and then starts serving everybody blueberry pie.
Nice.
And they had like the aroma of blueberry pie just like permeating the theater. So man, I'm kind of digging that actually. But yeah, I don't know, man. I guess I want blueberry pie now. And I wouldn't mind one of those candles. I think I'd get way more use out of that than a popcorn bucket.
Yeah, I love the popcorn buckets, but once they're in the house, it's like I've got this big dice thing from when I saw the D&D movie. I adore it, but like it's what do I do with it now? It just sits by. If I didn't have a YouTube show, what would I do with it? It just
you rolled a hit.
Well, that's the thing. You can't because it opens up. So if you try to roll it, it gets all floppy and just kind of just breaks apart.
You need to put candy in there and use it like a D&D piñata and just roll it. And when it opens up, everybody grabs candy.
There you go.
So part of the other branches of the layers of this movie is the fact that there is that opening fib or bending your rules for the sake of wanting to be out of the rain. Like they're not supposed to be in a room with someone where the woman isn't present, but due to the fact that they're slightly uncomfortable and would like to be out of the crappy weather, they kind of bend the rules there. And it seems to like so many different occasions when they have this back and forth and debating and challenging. There's like all of this, well, technically you're already breaking your rules. And there is this undercurrent of that throughout the movie where it's just like, technically you're already doing the wrong thing. So just how much further is it? Like, it's one of those things where I feel like a debate team could argue in both directions on good versus evil and right versus wrong and true versus untrue, because the lines are certainly blurred by both parties.
There is a line of dialogue. Oh, go ahead, Greg.
Oh, please, Lindsay. You're going way more specific than me. Go for the dialogue, sir.
I mean, it's almost a spoiler, but not really. Where the girls, it gets a bit almost like the Danish version of Speak No Evil, where the girls are like, "Why is this happening? Why are you doing this to us?" And he's just like, "Because you let me." And it's a different kind of thing, different kind of meaning, but it's still got that same kind of like you're not willing to acknowledge the issue until it's too late and you're too trapped in. And that kind of plays into the games that he's kind of doing with these people, because so much of this movie is about just control and having power over someone.
I got the second half / third act started, I was like, oh, this is just a more toned down version of Martyrs. And someone else brought it up in the chat.
That's what I was going to say. Like almost everybody has been comparing it to Martyrs, and I can see the reason why, but
they end very differently.
I was going to say, Martyrs? I don't know this movie. Sorry.
Oh, you should get to know your French cinema.
Oh, I love a French accent.
Watch it with someone you care about.
Not the remake?
Oh, not the American one. No.
No. You need to watch Martyrs, not Martyrs.
Martyrs. It's time for a nice cold one with CP as always, though, Cruz. Good to see you, man.
So without giving like spoilers or anything like that, I feel like I really like that I've heard about 6 or 7 different interpretations of the ending of this movie.
Oh yeah,
I really like that in movies. I don't feel like I've heard a whole bunch of different interpretations of Martyrs. I think like it gives kind of a definitive answer for me, but maybe I'm looking at that one incorrectly. I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying that, and it's made me think about this a lot more than every once in a while I think about that film. But man, I tried to stop thinking about this film this weekend, and it was a little tough.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Martyrs
Okay.
is a bit more one of two things. It's very, you think it's this or that, and you got a lot of awful stuff to sit through to get to that ending. Whereas uh, uh, Heretic is quite ambiguous, and there's a lot to chew on, and it's a bit more Americanized, and I don't mean that as like some sort of
For sure. For sure.
dig, but it is a little bit easier to take somehow.
How do you Americanize something? Hugh Grant.
Well, he is disarming, you know,
He's
his
very
boyish charm in his 60s.
Is
I don't know. I
Heretic a
love that
remake
guy.
of something French?
As far as I know, it is not. I do
don't
believe it's
believe
something
so.
original. So it's the writers of whatchamacallit, the Krasinski Quiet Place, and then they just recently did the 65 or whatever, the Adam Driver dinosaur
Oh,
flop
Yeah.
from
oh,
last
why'd you
year.
say that? No.
Because I didn't know what to expect going into this, but this is the first thing that they've written and directed, and man, it really seems to work for me. I'm loving this duo, and I want to see what they do next. Because from what I understand, they only directed the 65. I don't think they wrote it, but they only wrote Quiet Place. They didn't direct it, so this is kind of what they can do when it's fully them, and
Hmm.
it's the same cinematographer from the original Old Boy and a whole bunch of other amazing ones. I don't know if you noticed just the title sequence at the beginning, but it's like that is so beautiful. Just the way that they're having this kind of inappropriate conversation, but man, the titles are just going around them in such a beautiful way.
Oh,
So
I love that. Like the almost like the framing
Yeah.
of what was going on.
It's so beautiful. I love what they were able to do with the camera work in this one. Just that dude is a true artist with a camera.
Yes, a lot of spinning for well, I don't want to spoil
No,
much, but
no.
it's
So-
definitely
There's not a lot of locations and there's not a lot of actors in
Wow.
this one, but it doesn't feel like a stage play. Like this feels big. I really like the movement of it. Where I've seen a couple other ones recently where it's a very limited cast and basically in one place, and it feels like, why isn't this just a play? Like this, it doesn't feel like they're moving the camera enough. And man, what they did with some of the angles in this, it's just
So
ugh.
you were at some of these movies that seem like plays going, why am I here?
Kind of. It would be better with a live audience, and you know, the spectacle of this all taking place in one room would be so much more believable on stage. I
Mhm.
think, where it's like, I don't know. I don't want to knock the film. It's a great one from this year, but yeah, it's basically one actor in one room the entire time, and then they're on the phone.
Yeah, but what's dope as hell about Heretic was the way that they used that little model that they teased in the trailers, like the model of his house, his little trap house. They didn't use it as much as I thought they would based off what they thought in the trailer, but every time they did, it was super cool, super creative. Like, this is film right here. This is the type of things that you can do with film. You can only do in film, and it was just people that are having fun with their craft. I really liked it.
I think there's a
And
couple shots from the trailer that I don't remember seeing in the film. I do want to see it
Oh.
again, but
okay.
I think there's one of them where it shows like a schematic of the actual thing as well. I don't think that got used in the film as far as I remember. It just shows the model. So I don't know. But beautiful camera work.
It's just me, or are horror can't use my mouth today, filmmakers kind of experiencing an artsy renaissance, if you will, with these
They
horror
definitely are
films
with
that have been
A24.
released this year.
oh,
Art house horror is going through the roof right now.
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah,
about the
I
last
think-
10 years or so.
Mhm.
It's
I-
and
I
part of it. Go ahead.
I don't think that Art the Clown, just because his name is Art, qualifies to be part of this.
He's a little bit more like splatter. Yeah, you're right. I don't think that one would necessarily be the art house one, but there's quite a few of them that are kind of big. A24 really kind of pushes that with their horror version. It's not exactly
Mhm.
Blumhouse. They're going a little bit more artsy with it.
It's
I-
been the case for the last 10 years or so. Like I think It Follows was the first real big time indie horror film where
Mhm.
they don't need that much money. And
Yeah.
if you have some incredible ideas as a horror filmmaker, you don't have to go to the studio and say, we want to get this name, that name, please give us 50 million. They can do these things for, it's just moving the camera and being creative. They can do that for pennies on the
Well,
dollar.
it's all
Some of
about
them
just
have
using
really
their
been real strange darlings.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Yeah,
I feel like that would fit in there.
it's just really nice seeing like little horror movies just use their budget so creatively. Like, can you imagine It Follows if it had like a more Oh, that was weird, man. Okay, wait, no, I'm still here. I thought my Firefox crashed for a minute, but nope. Okay, I'm still here.
Can
It
you
just went
imagine?
away. It just suddenly was my
Little
desktop.
horror
But
movies, little
anyway.
horror budgets, little horror. Oh, sorry.
It's all about just using your budget right. Because could you imagine It Follows with a more like traditional soundtrack? That movie would be gutted without those like over the top like 80s style like and so like what money they had, they got a great composer that was willing to do something kind of weird and funky, and it worked. And you see, got the similar thing with Strange Darlings, that the soundtrack that they have like with that like blaring bass thing that happens whenever the demon's on screen, like that's just using what you have wisely, as opposed to like, I don't know, maybe a movie like Red One where you feel like you have all the movie in the world and you throw it at the screen and yet you end up with nothing. Oh, spoilers for later.
Yeah. Sorry about the Red One spoilers.
No, but we'll get there. Oh, and yeah, Hereditary and Midsommar are both actually really good examples of that as well. Yeah,
for sure. So I guess kind of wrapping up the Heretic thing, would you recommend seeing it in theater? Do you think this is one that would be better at home, or is there something to see in this in theater?
I'd say definitely, yeah, it's worth it.
I think. Oh, Charles, you are the expert, sir.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, with horror and comedy, like, there's something different about in that room with like everybody else, and man, kind of getting the air just like knocked out in certain tense situations. Man, there's nothing quite like seeing it with an audience. So I would recommend that. And then there's just so many beautiful shots in this one. To see it just blown up is just amazing.
Well, the thing that you talked about, great, like the credits along the side of the screen, that looks so beautiful big up on the big screen. Like it sorry, just gorgeous. Had to point that out.
I would say if you're going to see Heretic with some people that you can have a discussion afterwards, I think that would be more important than seeing it in a room full of people you don't know, because it's one of those movies that like I just want to talk about, and it's unfortunate. Somebody wrote it up in the chat already. When is the spoiler stream? We'll get to it. It's one of those things where it's like, what do you think?
Man, I would love to go see this movie again, just so at the end of it, I could just stand up in front of the entire theater and be like, all right, guys, who thinks this happened? Who thinks this happened? Just get like a real community discussion going. Oh, but we also have to mention this before we move on. This movie is hilarious. At least it was for me. There was like one or two scenes I was cackling like wildly.
Yeah. I have never laughed at a disease so heavily as I did at just the weirdness of like a misunderstanding and possible mishearing, but is it really? I don't know. Just it really made me cackle. I enjoyed that as well.
Oh, with the father?
Most of it comes from Hugh Grant. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's
I don't know,
that,
actually
but then later on, when he's like comparing certain things to other things, I started being like, "Oh, this guy's insane. This is great."
I do like the iterations that are chosen.
That was oh my god! I wonder if that monologue is what made him want to do this movie. He's just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, iterations, yeah, sign me up."
I just imagine there's going to be a lot of people using a lot of monologues from this. There is a lot of monologuing without it feeling like just over the top. To me, I guess there are definitely some who probably would find it a bit tough, or I'm sure it would be off-putting to hear that many pages of this dialogue. But I don't know. I think it's a fun journey.
It's not. If you're a Terrifier fan, this is not a movie for you. This is not a slasher. It's not an FX movie. This is a movie that like there's a lot of dialogue. There's not much things to look at that are like, ooh, gore. It's just not that movie. I finally figured out why it was released after Halloween, because people who go to the theater and look for like spooky season shit are going to be like, people are just talking.
Yeah, this is definitely
It
more of a
is
thriller
religious
than like
horror.
a full horror, I'd say. I mean, there's horror things in it. Excuse me, I apologize, but some thriller horror. It's the both, you know, dual
For sure.
dual genres.
Like it's religious horror without the like supernatural element. Like this isn't like demons or something like that, but there's horror in this. As much as I'd say like Seven has a lot of horror aspects in it, but it is kind of a
Yeah, okay.
thriller.
Mhm.
I think it's kind of along those lines, but I'd say that's also kind of a religious horror in a way.
Now, as a person who has yet to see this film, I'm with the guys in the comments who, with the whole spoiler thing. But let me ask you this: is this the kind of movie? Because it's doing pretty well, I guess, being released this weekend. Is it the kind of movie where if you've been miserable all week and you want to sulk in your misery, that's what you would go to, or is it something you would use to escape from that and say, well, gosh darn it, unlike everything else this week, that was pretty clever.
I think the answer is yes, and it kind of depends
Yeah.
on you, and it's going to kind of depend on how you see this. That this is for sulking in it, or this is very uplifting in a way. That's
Yeah.
on you. It is what you bring to it, sir.
Yeah, you
It
can be
really is.
reassured in your feelings one way or another.
That last shot is so clever in how it can be like taken in, a couple of different ways, and there's multiple lines throughout the movie that really set that last shot up too. Again, I'm not going to get into too specifics because of the spoilers, but as it
And I
was
feel
happening,
like-
I suddenly heard all these echoes from different parts of the movie stuff. Oh, when they said that, and they said that, and they said that.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those.
And there's a couple other ones that kind of tried to do a similar thing this year with kind of the ending the same type of way and bring this questionable element into it. And just, man, this seems so much more effective than those other ones for me. But, there's definitely going to be a percentage that are just off-put by this entire idea, I suppose.
Well, I was the only person in my theater who was laughing at any of these moments that I mentioned before. But that I'm that asshole that when I'm laughing and no one else is, that just makes me laugh even harder. And so I did kind of wonder at the end, like, was I the only person in my theater who enjoyed this? Because it was weirdly quiet.
So the characters in this, there's moments where they get challenged on stuff that they
Yes.
believe, and they're really uncomfortable with it. The difference between a movie like this and a movie like Unplanned is you can experience the same discomfort through the characters and not have it hammered over your head. And you can kind of pick a side of how you feel in that moment, where it's still just a fictional story. But they kind of, for lack of a better term, they hold your hand through it. And however you feel about what the movie's telling you, there's two paths that you can take. Even if you're, with the antagonist, it's still,
There's more than two paths.
Sure.
Because like I've heard so many interpretations of it so far, and this is just opening weekend.
well,
But
right.
definitely a movie Kevin Sorbo would have said no to.
Yes.
I think he would have. I don't know if he would go this hard. Maybe. I mean, that one.
I would love
Playboy
to
one
see
was
Kevin
interesting.
Sorbo play the Hugh Grant part. It won't be good, but I would love to see that. Okay. So
Yes, Nefarious, another one that comes to head.
oh my
It
God.
just message.
Well, so like the difference between this and like Unplanned, like you mentioned, Mr. Charles.
God's not dead.
God's not dead. Especially the first one, a great example of this. The non-religious person is never allowed to say anything clever, insightful, or legitimately challenging in those movies. Whereas in this, Hugh Grant is a nutbag, but he makes some points. He makes a few connections, and he does. He's there, and maybe it's that boyish charm again, but there's something about what he's arguing that does almost kind of want to make you agree with him, except for the fact he's also a psychopath.
But he does they clap back with him in a reasonable fashion, where there's a discussion about Judaism and how small those numbers are, and someone comes back with, yeah, well, I don't think you're accounting for the Holocaust, and it's like,
Mhm.
got
He
you.
literally doesn't respond to that. He has nothing.
He's
He
just
was
like,
not ready for that. I think he just kind of stares at her as she's saying that,
Yeah.
because he's like, "Oh, balls, the Holocaust." Oh,
Yep. It really is something. If you go there, it is the good faith, am I using this right? If you go there with a good faith mentality,
Mhm.
there's, it's not bad faith the way they're presenting. I hate using this lingo, but if you're open to it, it's pretty fair, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, one thing that was kind of striking about this movie was there was very few moments of it, or at least for a while, it eventually did get there, where there was like legitimate like threats going on, and for a while it was almost like an episode of The Thinkers on That Darn Kidda's channel, where just people just having a disagreement, but it's like almost a pleasant disagreement where they can almost be friends. Yeah. If you're watching, kid, I'm plugging you right. But I mean, there is that turn where it stops having that pleasantry, but for a little bit, it is kind of a charming jaunt through a religious discussion, let's say.
Yeah. And I just feel like people who are going to be uncomfortable with this, I don't think should be watching this anyway.
Well, the people
I don't think
that might be
religious horror is
uncomfortable
probably their genre. Sorry, that was just religious horror probably would make you uncomfortable, so probably shouldn't watch it. But some people want to live in the uncomfortable, and if so, this could be a very uncomfortable film for you, which would be great.
Maybe another week.
Well, I did think about I did date a fairly religious girl a few years back, but she would enjoy like a horror movie that would be like hey, kind of playing with stuff. It would just kind of depend on how I went about it. And I think this actually would be a movie that she would like, because again, at that end, you could read several things that happen several different ways. And so I think like even if you come into this as a religious person, there is still enjoyment and value to be taken from it, but both as a religious person and as a moviegoer, which is why it works for me.
There's a bit of an Inception shot at the end too, where
there's
that's
the shot that I was talking about, where they kind of set up with like several lines. It's so good. It's so good.
I love this conversation. It's like religious dialogue. It's not just for Christian movies anymore.
It doesn't have to be. But yeah, it's definitely a film that kind of challenges you, and you have to bring something to it. It's not one of those that you can have as like a second monitor type deal. Like it is something that you're going like full in. You do have to kind of stick with it in order to truly take in what it's asking you. So it's interesting, but just I would recommend seeing this. You might hate it, but I don't think you'll regret seeing it.
I do love that descriptive, by the way. It's not a second monitor movie. We should start having a new category, and when we rank things.
I'm just saying it's challenging. As far as like some of the horror movies go this year, they weren't as challenging. I think some of them could have been kind of second monitor things, but
imagine it.
Yeah, I'm really digging where this one went. That's one of the reasons why I'd really recommend theater for this one. Just man, you truly get immersed in this, and it's great.
Yeah. And you could be that asshole, me, and laugh, and when no one else laughs, you laugh louder, making it awkward for the people who's not laughing.
There's a couple of really funny spots. So I was not expecting to laugh, but man, Hugh Grant is just so charming.
Yes. Do we want to do any spoilers at all, or should we save that for a different stream? Okay, no spoilers.
I think we're
Everybody
good.
is safe.
I think we went right up to the edge. I think we're good. I think we've
All right, let's stop.
Rosales been getting antsy, and I think Marcy left and plugged their ears. I think so.
That's fair.
We'll do it again because Cody has recommended Brian to see it, and after seeing it, I don't know.
That's an interesting. No, Marcy, you don't have to go. We're done. We're now just talking about Brian.
No. We're saying
not doing any
we're ending it
spoilers
now. We're ending it now.
Not the stream. We're going to end talking about Heretic.
But yeah, I don't know if I would There's a couple people in my life that I feel like would definitely take this film the wrong way. I kind of fear Brian might be one of those people. Do you see
I
him
would be
enjoying this,
fascinated to
Charles?
see
I
what
feel like
Brian
you
says.
know his taste quite a bit.
I asked him to watch Martyrs, and he didn't appreciate that recommendation. So the fact that Cody wants him to see it,
Did he see the right one?
yeah, I sent him my copy. The fact that this is all on Cody if this goes tits up, because I am not endorsing that recommendation, but I am too also curious to hear what Brian has to say about this.
I really would like to hear what Brian did, because this is one of those movies that like you could easily write it off, or you can engage with it and kind of get something out of it. I don't know. That's my 2 cents, though. What can I say? It's my line.
Nonsense.
Oh, what about you, Gray? Do you
Channel
have a
plug.
poupée to
Like
throw
and
on there, or?
No, I think your 2 cents will do enough. What can I say? I can't keep it up. I don't know where to go with Rosales for that, but yeah, I was trying to throw it, just couldn't do it. Fumbled there.
It's okay. It's okay. Is it time then, gentlemen? Is it?
I think it's the time.
Is it the time?
It
Well,
is.
ladies and gentlemen, the movie is not officially out everywhere, but there are numerous places, including Los Angeles, where I be, and New York, where Charles be, that you can see the movie of the year, the cinematic event
Special.
of our generation, Red
Magical Sunday opening.
Uno.
Oh,
With its magical
yeah, no,
Sunday
that
opening.
thing says only in theaters November 15th. It's got to be like a preview screening tonight only.
Yeah, but there was like 3 of them just at the one theater that's by me, and I didn't even bother looking at the other theaters. So
Yeah,
like, that's not
they do that.
insignificant.
They do
Yeah.
that like special Saturday shows and shit. Because that thing says the 15th.
Okay.
I think it's just like a special one-off thing for.
So like
tonight.
you can't see it tomorrow, but you could see it tonight.
I don't.
Well,
I don't know.
You know, the Movie Insider does not have it listed on the 15th for the movies that are coming out.
Yeah, it's
So-
because it's already been released, limited.
Okay, so limited being everywhere or just
On a couple of screens. It
Just the
in
major
La La
markets.
Land?
it's released for previews today, and then
Mhm.
it just expands the release on the 15th.
Yeah. But we
Yeah.
were
Said,
the
do they get to
honored few.
count this? Do they get to count these Magical Sunday ones in with their like weekly total? Or
It counts
whatever?
with Thursday night because it's preview shows.
Oh,
Yeah,
is
so
that why
that-
they did this, to boost their Thursday night?
Crooked
I
shit.
mean, yeah, that sounds a little, non-fair, but fair enough. Do you think the best darn Christmas pageant or whatever can stand up to Red One, or is it just going to be knocked out of there next time?
I don't know. They're all right. So,
Yes.
Box
they do.
Office Mojo has
Mhm.
Red One today, the 10th limited,
Mhm.
and then the 15th wide.
Okay.
Yeah. AMC's showing it as an early access for November 10th at 4 p.m. specifically. So it's only one showing today. And then it'll go wide release on, I'm assuming, of course, on Friday.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
just realized. Let's
advanced
just check.
tickets.
Go ahead.
No,
I was
it's
going to
just
say, Charles, you were upset that the best darn Christmas pageant or whatever was out already. Do you think that people can support 2 Christmas movies right now, or is that one just gone? Like, do you see it dropping out of the top 10, or is it gonna Wild Robot it?
Family movies are weird post COVID because it seems like those are the only things that survive, even if you can watch it at home. But I don't know. All right, so people are only able to watch it for one selected showtime, and don't look into it, Lindsay. Los Angeles is different.
Oh no, I just checked to see if there was a showings tomorrow. There's not. So it's today and then Friday.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
it's this weird preview junk.
Is it really to boost Thursday? That makes so much sense, but that's so scummy too. Like, oh my
Dude,
god.
the budget is 235 million, and they're like doing back handed corner cutting to what? Make their numbers look sexier? Like it's awful.
I mean, I'm assuming to investors, they want to make the movie look like it's doing well to someone. If they are doing it that to boost the previews, because is anyone excited for this? Is anyone seeing any buzz or any excitement? I mean, maybe because we don't have kids.
I mean,
is this a kids movie?
It's a family.
I love me some J.K. Simmons, but other than that, I really couldn't care less.
I do love me some J.K. Simmons, and he does have his facial hair, so it's not like Saturday Night Live where we're looking at him as a horrible nightmare fuel nonsense. Oh, what are you showing there, Rosales? What do you got? Is this a theaters?
You can buy tickets to private screenings right now for Thursday for Red One.
Nice.
So I don't know what the numbers are going to be because
doesn't look good.
Gosh darn it. Ain't nobody there.
Negative word of mouth works just as well as positive word of mouth. And by doing these limited screeners or these preview screenings, people can just as quickly say that was terrible. Save your money. If people don't want to pay an extra $1 for eggs, they're not going to pay $15 a head for The Rock as a CIA agent for Santa Claus. It's not good. Like, if you're thinking about watching a Christmas movie this weekend, I would say watch the Christmas pageant, because at least there's not $235 million dropped into that damn thing.
Does that pageant movie have a giant CG polar bear?
Ugh.
Yeah, but that's giant CG polar bear kind of. I mean, it looked okay, I guess, but it mostly this movie looked like butt. I'm gonna just
Dude,
like this for how expensive this is. This movie looks almost offensively bad.
You have The Rock, and the first time we see him doing like action, he's on a slide.
Yeah,
like he's just sliding through Wintertown, and it's just so. Oh yeah, that's what we need The Rock for. Some CG slides throughout a city, like. It was so 1996 in quality. It was bad. And you have an action star going down a slide with like things happening to the right of him or whatever. It's just like, what did you do? Why are you paying for this?
I hear what you're saying.
Oh boy.
But Jingle All the Way had some very good slide scenes in it. So I don't know. Without seeing it, it's hard for me to weigh in, but I can imagine some ways that it would be good.
Oh, so you haven't seen Red One?
I'd like to invite you to come to see the #1 movie of the series, and Jingle All the Way. Yeah,
I live in a flyover state. We're not privy to this special Sunday screening, so unfortunately I didn't get to see it yet. But by next time, I'm sure.
Your uncle.
I had one I ignored.
No, I don't even really know what to say about this movie, man. I'm hearing these horror stories from behind the scenes too.
No, sorry, I saw it in the chat.
That is a classic cinematic moment there, of course. But the Wrap is running these stories about how The Rock, who's a producer on this movie, would show up to set 7 to 8 hours late. And so you want to know like how they end up shooting an entire action sequence of The Rock doing nothing but sliding down a slide, is because he showed up to set 8 hours late, and all they could do was shoot him going down a slide over and over and over and over.
I don't know if that is
in his defense. It was leg day. I'm just saying.
That's why he had to slide too. His legs are too tired. He couldn't run.
You don't know if that's the exact reason why they had that, because you have to account for CG and like.
I'm being facetious, 25%, but it
was all the time he spent in his trailer pouting.
Yeah. After seeing this, I'm sorry. Between this and Black Adam, he's not what he thinks he is as far as a viable box office option. He's just not.
And the sad thing about this movie is too, it's obviously trying to capture the magic that they got in the Fast and the Furious movies, specifically Hobbs and Shaw. Like this is like the most
White House down with Santa Claus. It's just, that's all it is. It's White House down with Santa Claus.
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of, but it has the dynamic.
Are you saying it's not like Hobbs and Shaw?
No, it is 100% Hobbs and Shaw. Like you can fight against
Charles. I need you to be the deciding vote on this. I love me some Hobbs and Shaw. If this is like Hobbs and Shaw, I'm all on board for Red One.
It's not as good as Hobbs and Shaw, but it's trying to capture that energy so desperately. It's sad. Go ahead though, Charles.
You're You're saying you never saw Hobbs and Shaw?
No,
Oh,
and
do
why
yourself
would
a favor.
But why would you make Captain America the funny sidekick?
Oh, and he has such a painful New York accent in this, where it's just like, actually, I don't even know if he's from New York, but he's like a bad guy, and he does
Yeah.
crimey stuff, so he's got to have that.
Crimey.
Oh, I'm a pickpocket, so I got to talk like this, and it's
Mhm.
painful. That guy's worth millions, and he's doing a painful New Yorker.
They
I'm a
make me watch
pickpocket.
my cousin Vinny before I go on set.
It's not good. It is
I wonder
not
if
good.
Chris Evans is one of those actors. Like I love him. I adore him as Captain America, but I wonder if he's one of those actors that's like he's really project or actor dependent. Like I also really, in his defense, I'll say this: I really loved him in Snowpiercer. I think that's one of the best performances of his career.
Scott Pilgrim.
He's also very good.
Limited
Sorry,
role, but
yeah,
he's fantastic. I like him in The Gray Man.
I had
Similar
actually seen The
role.
Gray Man, but okay.
It's not like he can't do it. It's just
Taste.
I don't. Mm.
Well, it's maybe it's also just like, and there's something about rock projects that breed this, because like this movie feels like Red Notice. If anyone remembers Red Notice, this feels like the holiday spinoff to Red Notice, or like a crossbreed between Red Notice and, if anyone remembers, Rise of the Guardians from like 12 years ago. Not
Cool thing.
no, not the Owl movie, the other Rise of the Other Guardians. That was like all the holiday characters coming together, like the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus and Sandman and things like that, all
Yeah, when there
teaming
was
up.
a pumpkin head floating headless horseman thing, I was like, oh, really? We're doing that? The little cameo for the headless horseman?
I mean, if they had swung into that a little more, I think that could have been fun. But as this, thank you, Dice. That's why you're my best friend of all time. Because when I say words, you make me sound less insane.
I remember Rise of the Guardians.
Do you, Rosales, or are you just trying to score points?
Sorry.
Yeah, there's a headless horseman in this movie for like 2 seconds, Dice, and then it goes away and it's gone, and it makes me wonder if The Rock's trying to make like a franchise out of this, or he's like part of this organization. No, I mean, it's not going to work. But do you think they're going to try to make like a franchise that's about like policing the supernatural? But to Marcy, I enjoy a cheesy action flick, but this is yikes. This movie,
they're not making their money back.
Huge yikes. No,
they're not making their money back.
I would barely call this an action flick. It's a buddy cop movie that goes to a lot of locations. Is like it barely qualifies as an action movie. Like, how many big action scenes would you say there are, Charles? There's like the snowman battle. There's the big final battle that's barely a big final battle, and then there's the sliding chase scene, which is again barely an action scene. Does this movie count as an action movie?
I'm sure the filmmakers would tell you it does.
Oh, they want it
because
to be.
It does feel like I don't know, like they want to have, like you brought it up, the lore of something like Monsters Inc., but like for like did we see the Easter Bunny? Or I'm trying to think of
there were magical rabbits people that were talking, but none of them were labeled the Easter Bunny.
So they're like trying to do like this thinly veiled holiday cinematic universe thing, and it's also very, White House Down, or the other one that is also the same thing with Channing Tatum, but
Olympus Has Fallen.
Yes, same shit, just different. It's just this, Santa is the president, we have to save him. Right down to the motorcade. Sort of like
friend
that.
Dice and my best friend Dice. So they're trying to make the Nightmare Before Christmas angle. Trying is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence, because they are failing. But do they wish that they were making that?
If you watch this and you think that like your friends put it together, you're like, nice, keep trying. But then if you're like, huge movie stars are in this and they were asking for dozens of millions of dollars to do this, no, go get fucked. This is awful.
It's like the return of Rat Pack in Ocean's 11.
Kind of.
At least that felt fun. This is like the most bloated Netflix movie.
Oh, yeah.
Really, all it is.
It does not need to be 2 hours long. Like you
No.
said, bloated. There's absolutely no reason this movie needs to be longer than 80 minutes. It is a
60.
crime against editing. Well, I mean, you legally need to be 80, I think, to get into theaters.
85.
So I guess 85. Sorry, 85. Thank you, though, Charles, our local NATO expert.
Listen, SAG. Split the difference.
Hey, how about I show you the bill that I owe SAG, and then we'll talk about whether or not I'm in SAG or not.
Yeah.
But love you, SAG. Don't hate me. This movie is so insanely cheap looking. I know I keep saying it. Like, there is one sequence where there's a bunch of characters in costumes. Those look pretty good. I thought Krampus, I don't know if it's a spoiler to say Krampus is in this movie. He looked okay, like in comparison to everything else. I think it's mostly the best actor in the movie was playing Krampus. So it was like the one time someone actually had charisma was this guy in this big horrible costume. I mean, Chris Evans was fine, I guess, but like the person in the
but then he says things with his accent, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm a thief.
I think the
Hey,
Krampus
I
thing
gotta
is a
go rescue
spoiler. He was in
Santa.
the.
Oh, was he in the trailer?
I think the Krampus was on the poster.
he's
Just the
in the
poster,
poster.
even.
Oh, okay. So I
What is
don't
that?
feel bad spoiling Krampus. But yeah, man,
So
this is a
Marcy
big
makes
nothing burger. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rosales.
I was just going to say that Marcy makes an interesting thing. He says it feels like it should have been 20 million, 50, or even $80 million budget.
Yes.
But
Oh, yeah.
I think that it probably was, and the rest was payroll,
No, it's
like The Rock and everybody else. You know,
it's a bloated Netflix
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Like when you watch something where like Adam Sandler's just making these straight to Netflix, like really pretty looking $50 million Netflix comedies where you're like, the fuck, what do they need to be in the Bahamas for? Where it's just a vacation and a paycheck. This is the same thing, only different. How the budget is
only the film and the movie goes nowhere.
how the budget is not a quarter of what it is. It's insane.
Well, this
It's
movie
like-
is worse than those that I would say because so this is a mystery. Where did Santa Claus go? Who kidnapped him? Where did they take him to? The big, again, spoilers for the movie of our generation. I apologize for spoiling this, but at the end of the movie, Santa Claus didn't go anywhere. He's still in the North Pole. He's still in his workshop. The kidnappers literally took him nowhere. So there's no need to go to the Bahamas. There's no need to go to America. There's no need to go anywhere that they go in this movie. They could this could have been a bottle movie set entirely just within like the main workshop of Santa's toy making facility, but they go to the Bahamas and show a bunch of girls in thongs because kids love thongs in their movies, and then they go to this part of the world, and then they go to this part of the world, and there's so much wasted time, wasted resources. Just everything is horribly mismanaged. This should be a career-ending movie. I'm not sure who. Maybe The Rock,
career?
maybe the producer. No, someone responsible for this movie should never work in Hollywood again. This is such a mismanagement of just money and resources and time and people and just everything.
I think you have to go to those places if you want to get to 80 minutes or 2 hours.
Well, if it was
Let me kind of push back
right.
for a second. I don't think you were saying the same thing with like
Bring it.
Joker Folie à Deux. And
Okay.
that one is arguably as big a flop or whatever. Well, I guess I'm going to ask you, it is leading up to our over-under game coming up, but I don't know. Do you see this absolutely flopping in the theaters, or do you think there is going to be actual getting some of that 200 whatever budget back?
It's going to make more than Joker did, sadly, which it shouldn't because it's much worse than Joker. I would gladly watch Joker 15 times to never even think about this movie again.
So you said,
but
this should be career ending. Should Todd Phillips have a career? Should anyone from Joker Folie à Deux lose their career?
Yeah, Warner.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, David Zaslav. Well, the reason I say that this should be a career ender is because like there's just so much used for nothing. Whereas like Joker used so much to try to do something and it didn't quite work. Whereas this, like they clearly just didn't really have any vision, so they just threw a lot of money at it and hoped for the best. And they definitely did do that with Joker as well, but like Joker at least wanted to like say something, and whereas this movie just wants to be sentimental and it can't even be that.
But the
Also, here,
problem
money
is,
real quick in the chat. Adam Sandler should stick to more dramatic acting. I agree. Go ahead, Charles.
I think we all agree.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Bronson. The problem that we're learning rapidly, so seemingly every other week, is that these stars of these movies, and in the post-COVID era, I don't know how on earth stars are making 40, 50 million, anything north of 25 million, and these movies aren't even covering their bill opening weekend. You're going to have to start doing something where there's, I don't know, an opposite end of pay or play, where it's like, yeah, you can make your salary, but we need to make your salary opening weekend, and watch how different things start turning out, where it's like, oh, okay, your salary 50 million, but we need to make 50 million if we're going to pay you that. Watch how different things turn out.
And that's the thing. Like, this is only estimated at like 30 million or something opening, right?
So 40 on the high end.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
So is there a way that you would expect to make back? You know, they often say it's like 2 times the budget, perhaps even a little bit more when you factor in the advertising. So how do you make back 400 million making 40 opening?
Oh, no. Oh, wait. Rephrase the question. I'm sorry. So this weekend...
sorry, like, do you think that they can make back 400 million? So oftentimes they say like it's double the budget once you factor in like advertising and everything. And I've seen this plugged pretty hard.
So the budget's 250. So
so we'd be talking like 500 then. Sorry, I thought it was like 2, closer to 2.
What I was
somewhere
proposing...
between 235 and 250. It's always Hollywood math, but yeah.
So what I was proposing was if
around 500 million. Do you think there's any shot that it would make that back? Like, I think Joker just made 200 something worldwide. Is this going to make 500 worldwide?
No.
Well, I mean, you have to do the China math of it all. That sounds really.
It's already out. It was out.
Was it already out there? How did
it's only made 23 million this weekend, and in Mexico it made 2. In the UK it made 3. It's not doing it. What do you think? China's going to go watch this movie? No,
nope. They do like movies that they
how much they love Christmas.
Yeah, that's true.
But so what I was proposing was, if you have a star of like, I don't know, maybe have this threshold where it's like, all right, I'm pretty sure Chris Evans did. Well, I don't know. When you have these people,
Chris Evans probably worth 10, 15. But go ahead.
Post Captain America, really? Well, anyway, like Joker, you had 3 people making north of 30, 40 million dollars. At some point,
it's got to be close to that, though, right? Like J.K. Simmons is no pushover.
Well,
then you've got The Rock, Chris Evans.
I think The Rock is 50 on this. So I think your top paid person, you need to have some sort of thing where it's like some sort of escape hatch where if you don't make at least their salary on opening weekend domestic, then there's some sort of, I don't know, the opposite of pay or play. I don't know what you would call that, but I don't know, some sort of...
I think it's a fascinating idea. I'm trying to think of because The Rock would never sign to a movie where he has that kind of like clause to it. Like, I just don't see him doing that.
But it's no different than Back End. Like, famously, Kate Winslet, whatever she signed on for Titanic, I think it was 2 million or 2% of the back end, which ended up, it would have been like $50 million. And she took the 2. And because she didn't want to risk, having to hope that the movie made money. Bad choice.
An example of that where it worked out for the actor, Jack Nicholson. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Greg.
What?
I was going to say I also would have chosen poorly. I don't think I would have said like, yeah, we need to know about the most famous ship sinking. Like, yeah, like everyone's dying to see that.
I think it depends on how much money you have in the bank, whether you're going to take the money up front or the back end. But Jack Nicholson, I think he to this day still makes a little bit of money off of any and all Batman, anything that happens.
Nice.
And so like his Joker payout is considered one of, if not the biggest deals in the history of Hollywood. Like he technically never needs to work a day in his life again.
Right. So you just put it in the paperwork that it's like an inverse. Like, okay, you can make as much as 50 million. Or 50 million plus if we go far north of whatever, money making is. But if we don't make that 50 million back on opening weekend domestic, your salary is then 30 million. And then the initiative changes where it's like, all right, you know what? I can't show up 8 hours late.
Oh my God. Who wants to be the guy to tell The Rock though he can't be 8 hours?
I'm
Some tiny temp, 5 foot nothing. Mr. Rock. Mr.
It's time to start pointing at numbers for him because, like, dude,
Oh,
I don't
you're
know.
not
I don't
wrong.
know who's telling you you're worth 50, but
It's the
it's
people
not
that
happening.
get paid with him, regardless of whether
Oh,
the movie
sure.
makes any money.
Right.
It's his entourage. It's his ex-wife.
Yeah.
You know,
The problem is the theater industry is choking, and all of the people in the entertainment industry are holding their necks.
Yeah.
And it's really crummy.
Yeah.
you know, there's a scene
Well-
in the animated film Akira when everything starts to just go to crap, and all of the government officials are just piling money into their briefcases and running away before the city goes completely to pot with everything that's going on in the world at that time. And I see that is happening in Hollywood. All of the executives and the people that are behind the scenes are filling their coffers with all of these movies that other investors are putting their money into as the movie theaters are dying a slow and painful cancerous death. And they know there's really not a whole lot they can do about it. The only thing they can do is plan for their future by making these uh $500 million movies that no one's going to go see, and just stockpiling for the future.
Yeah. Something needs to happen, like, en masse, and nobody's doing anything.
Well, I think
I
the
don't know.
first step to be is no more like production studios that are like run by like an actor coming in and taking over a movie, a la this, a la Black Adam, a la The Mummy with Tom Cruise. Like, has that ever worked out for any movie where an actor just took over the entire thing like that?
No, but
I
it's
can't
worked
think of
out
an
for Tom
example.
Cruise with Paramount, and
See, that is different. Tom Cruise is one of those people that he's put his money where the guy jumps off of mountains for his movies. Like,
The
You're
Rock
saying
would
The
not do
Rock
that.
should jump off a mountain.
no, I'm just saying he puts his body where his paycheck is. I don't know how else to put it, but, like, the Mummy was a bit of an anomaly
Hmm.
where, like, Top Gun, that was the Top Gun Maverick. That
Mhm.
was during COVID, and that was like
Yeah.
the first, oh, we're back. And it was all due to him. So some
I have
people,
a feeling that the Mummy was worse than crap because the movie wound up being crap after he took over and interjected everything into it that he knew he could do. Well, let's fly a plane upside down and pretend
Yeah.
to be weightless, and let's do this and let's do that and let's jump this and let's bury that or whatever.
yeah, he missed the
Let's add
assignment.
this to it. And so he put all of this stuff that he knows how to do into something that probably read like crap to begin with. The final draft, they were rushing through to get it done so that they could start this billion-dollar franchise of the Dark Universe. That script wasn't any good to begin with.
It's 2010.
Why'd you sign
Uh,
on to it though if it was a bad script? Like that's my question. Like,
He
Because
probably got the
Universal
points on the back end.
Universal
And a
wanted their,
franchise.
Universal wanted their Marvel, and they have
Right,
all
yeah.
the horror guys. So they're like, here we have this sitting around. Let's just try to do it our way and put the cart before the horse. And
That's what I was trying to say. Just way more eloquent, sir. Thank you.
It just still feels like such. I'll never understand why he chose to do The Mummy. Like, it's like, has he
It
ever
did
done any other
wonders for
horror
Frasier.
before? Like, I don't. It's just so out of his wheelhouse. Like,
I mean, there's Interview with a Vampire. I don't know if I'd necessarily call it horror, but it's horror adjacent. He's a
That was
You know
vampire.
what
Horror
else is
Jason.
out of his wheelhouse? Collateral, and he was scary in that. So,
well, that's still at least an
that's a
action
good
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
But
very
it's
good movie. I'm not like
very good
trying to
movie.
belittle it. It's an incredible movie. I think it's one of his best performances, honestly.
Yes.
But it's at least him being a badass in his own element, and like he's the Rock without like that stupid thing about how I can't lose a fight in a movie, because Tom Cruise can. He's lost fights in movies before, right? Like he's gotten his ass kicked here and there. Like
The Rock?
no, not The Rock. No, Tom Cruise. Like in Live,
Yeah.
Die, Repeat alone, he dies like what 30 times. Like,
I think he's far more for multiple ends of the craft than he is the dollar.
mhm.
Because if he was lazy, if he was just in it for the paycheck, He wouldn't be executive producing things. He wouldn't be that hands-on from start to finish. He's this rare case. He'll take less in the beginning and take more on the back end because he wants to will the thing into success. I think he's this rare case where if you tell me Tom Cruise is in a movie, even with the Mummy in his back pocket, I'm still like fired up about it. And until he can't walk anymore, it's like, all right, well, he's gonna bust his ass for it. I know that much.
He messed up his ankle in one of those. I almost said Fast
And
and Furious.
the shots in the
one of-
movie.
Yeah. Well, how do you not use that shot at that point? Like you might as well. Like in Lord of the Rings, they used the shot where Aragorn broke his toe. In The Exorcist, they used the shot where they actually yanked the mom so hard against the wall it like hurt her back. Like if you actually are gonna hurt someone, you might as well use it.
I was gonna say, if you're going that far, I mean, The Shining, like, you know, every
that's right.
bit of that is like
Yeah.
Shelley Duvall being very much traumatized. But yeah,
Very much
sorry,
so.
moving on.
No, you're right.
No, there's this.
There were a lot
thing
of
where
movie producers. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
No, go ahead, Rosales.
I was just going to say that there, you know, that era of Hollywood was phasing out at the time. You know, the '70s had a lot of guerrilla stuff going on, and artsy directors that took real advantage of their actors and
Mhm.
pushed them in ways that really were, you know, shouldn't have been done when there was a union around. You know, what was it, the Last Tango in Paris? You know, doing things that no one should be talking about right now. Uh, a lot of things happen on those sets during that time. You know, when you make me think of it with The Exorcist.
They were
That-
filmmakers. They weren't studios.
No, and they took full advantage of how they could get the reaction they needed from the actor if the actor wasn't pulling their weight, in their opinion. So yeah, he would tell, you know, he did tell her that yes, we will ratchet it down and we'll pull you lightly. And you know, even though she didn't have any padding there, and then he went back to the guys who were running the crank and told them to pull it to the top, pull it all the way, as fast as you can. And it basically could have broke her back, you know, when it pulled her down. The same thing with the strap that was on the girl in the bed that was making her go up and down. The strap broke, and the back, the arm that was moving her, Reagan, the character, back and forth, was scarring and cutting her back as it was going up and down in that scene. And that's the scene they used. Same thing with the other lady when they pulled her down. That's the scene they used, the one with the most visceral reactions, because that's what these artists needed from their actors. Nowadays, you know, the actors can do whatever they want, like come 7 hours late to a movie set and do whatever they want.
But it's different with a star like The Rock, you know, making 50 million on something that he really. We looked at his numbers last week. I don't know who. I mean, his accountant is worth every penny he's paying him, but
and his lawyer.
To compare it with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, when he did the smaller things like Collateral, when he did the art house shit in the Magnolia, those movies he took far less because it was a different project. It's weird that in this day and age, you have a lot more stars that aren't really a part of the art. They're just cashing a check, and I don't know if it was Rosales or Gray that brought it up, but like The Rock and Vin Diesel having this thing where they can't lose a fight in a film. It's just like, what the fuck is this, man?
It's a brand loyalty, brand recognition.
Yeah, no, we're not here selling fucking Pumas.
Well, we're not.
How
here
long do you
selling
think it's
movies.
been? How long do you think it's been since The Rock has been in a movie that grossed $1 billion?
It's one of the Fast movies.
Yeah,
But how
went over
long do
that
you
one.
think it's been? Like,
Well,
how
when
long
was
ago was that?
It was what was it? Fast X, was it? Or
Does that count?
Fast
It
7?
was not Fast X. It was Fate of the Furious.
Fate
So-
of the Furious.
8.
2017.
X counts. But
Well, no,
we'll
no,
see.
that made $1 billion. So the last time that he was in a movie that made $1 billion was 2017. It's been
So
7 years.
That's Fast and the Furious 8.
Yes. So
Yeah, what did
I-
what did Black Adam do?
nothing. I mean,
Nothing.
not nothing.
Kill
But,
WB.
390 million.
What was
So
the
not
budget?
even 500,000. Not even, sorry.
Million.
They made 390 million. Didn't even do 500,000. Derp 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 derp.
Budget? Sucks when you don't have it in front of you, dude.
Sorry. I know it was like 200-ish. Adam budgets. Oh, 260. Whoo. So it was greenlit. Ooh, this is great because this is another Rock movie that spiraled out of control. So I forgot about this. Initially greenlit at $190 million. The final cost of the film, Black Adam, ballooned to as much as $260 million due to the reshoots.
That's
And
kind
that's
of a
not
thing.
counting.
No, that's kind of a thing with these big budget things where like that's less on The Rock than it's just.
Well, I'm not saying it's entirely The Rock's fault.
I mean,
but it's just,
because Warner Brothers, they know how to nail it. They know how to nail it in that first take.
you ain't wrong about that.
What are you scrolling?
Still don't
through?
understand how all of
I'm
his
scrolling through
billions. So it looks like the 2, 7, and 8.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we did talk about this last week. Furious 7, not a Rock-led picture. Go ahead, keep going.
I mean, I would like to think those muscles carried it quite a bit, but fair enough.
He's in an ensemble,
Mm-hmm.
which Vin Diesel would like to argue that he has a lot to
It's
do
all
with that
him.
too. All right,
Yeah.
so that's two Fast and Furious movies.
Well, it's family.
That's it.
you know?
Those are his only $1 billion. He only has 2.
Jumanji, a poor man's
close.
So
ensemble?
close, but it's not quite there. And then
Yeah.
Moana, like I would have thought that's $1 billion movie, but that's like 600 something.
2
surprised
Jumanjis.
by
I
that
have yet
too.
to see The Rock movie. Fast and Furious, 5 for 5, 6 for 6.
Hobbs and Shaw deserve more. I'm just saying.
That might be one, Moana, except you don't really see The Rock in it. It's a voice. How much you paying for the guy just
You're
to show up in his underwear?
7 hours late.
7 for 7, 8 for 8. Fast. All right, so a Moana and 7 Fast movies.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, hey, there's one.
Yeah,
So he's worth $500 million.
And how long ago was San Andreas?
Oh, mummy! Oh my God! He wasn't really a thing in that movie. So San Andreas,
2015.
Are you kidding? He was the Scorpion King. He was huge in that movie.
What
He
we're
launched a
looking at here
franchise.
is that okay? Yeah, on his own, 474 million. Everything else, he's part of a collective that worked beyond him, or despite of him, or in spite of him. However, it's actually
I
supposed
hear
to be
you.
done.
He's a team
I failed
player.
dramatically. But yeah, no, he's not a team player. He's played on teams.
Yeah.
But he's not a team player. And
he
so
is the
yeah,
luckiest star making a shit ton of money there is.
you know, if it's not Vin
Not luck,
Diesel,
it takes a lot of
it's,
work.
it's the little guy.
Iron Paradise goes
guy.
everywhere with him.
Kevin Hart. Yeah, Kevin Hart is his lucky rabbit's foot that he wears around his neck.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vin Diesel, he stole from him. So yeah, that's it. That's all there is for him.
Yeah, if he's I don't know what he's shooting right now or what's in the can, but if he gets trusted with something, I'm sure it's gonna be Warner Brothers that does it. Like they deserve to just get absolutely slaughtered for it because
He's
this
doing
is
an MMA movie, I think, is what he's doing next.
awesome.
Where they got to cover him with all kinds of makeup 7 hours later.
Are you able to see what his salary was for Fighting with My Family? His 4 lines in that movie?
I think he was an executive producer.
Awesome.
We'll have to be
Awesome.
sure, though.
He's the anti-Tom Cruise.
I mean, there are a lot of qualities that, yeah, you'd say it's the exact polar opposite. Fair enough.
Ooh, I think I just found it.
Ooh, that noise. What does that mean?
Ooh. Well, if this is the number, it's embarrassing. Could someone find me the budget for Fighting with My Family?
Whatever number you're looking at is probably that. No.
Okay.
Whatever number you
One
see there that it made, cut it in half.
Subtract 50 from it.
That's what the budget was. Not what it ballooned to, but what it actually was.
They're saying it's an $11 million budget estimated.
Okay, yeah, no, I the number I was looking at, even though I looked for Fighting with My Family, it was for Red Notice. So that's why I was so excited. Like, he got paid that much for that?
Adam's on the ball. What is his cost for Fighting with My Family?
We didn't have that.
Oh, I thought Lindsay said he found it.
Oh no,
It
no,
was
I
Red
thought
Notice.
I did.
Oh.
It was
no,
significantly more than the budget of that film.
Yeah.
All right, so 11 million. I'm dying to know, like even more now.
Like, there's no way he took less than $1 million, right? There's
Of course
just no
not.
way.
And I want to know what Florence Pugh's money is for that. You know, the person
Florence
who plays
Pugh's in
it.
that movie?
Yeah, she plays Soraya or a Paige.
I never
She
saw
plays.
it. Man.
It's a really good
She
movie.
wasn't Florence Pugh at the time. She was, this would have been pre-2019 when it was released.
Okay.
So
Before or
I
after
think she was still
Midsommar?
Florence Pugh at that time. She just wasn't known to be Florence Pugh.
I don't remember if this was before or after Midsommar, because that was kind of the same time.
I think it was roughly the same time. Like,
This might have been.
yeah.
The main thing I remember about Fighting with My Family is Vince Vaughn in the trailer and The Rock getting half of the trailer dedicated to himself being, "Don't be the next me, be the first you." I know.
Steve
It's just like,
Merchant is
he's
a
such
really
a
good
bad
comedy
actor.
director.
He's such a bad actor. It's incredible sometimes. I mean, I guess I should say he's been good at some things. Like, I kind of like him in Doom. You guys remember Doom from
He's
2004? Yeah.
He's fine as like
the Carl Urban one.
He's fine as the $5 million guy that you need a chuckle out of. He's I don't know who the fuck is paying him $50 million to be.
Idiots.
The best part of the Doom movie, though, was when he got sucked into whatever that was, saying, "I'm supposed to be the hero."
Exactly. Yeah.
And they got rid of him. It should have stayed that way from that point on. I'm not seeing on, I guess the numbers.
Well, worldwide, at 41 on 11 million budget. That's a hit. See, you see, at $11 million budget, it made 41.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
Those are good numbers.
Why are you paying that man 50?
I can't see the full financials. Sorry.
Because he won't do your
Paradise,
movie if you don't pay him 50. And if you don't get him in the movie,
It costs
can
a
you make
lot
the
to
movie?
move that gym around.
You know, people make fun of Adam Sandler, but at least he's behind the scenes over at Netflix. I don't know. The Rock as a movie star is a fraudulent take. I'm sorry.
Yes, I agree with you completely. And I think Adam Sandler does not have mortgages anymore.
I'm just saying, he's got some range, more than he shows in most of his blockbuster ones. Check out Ballers, man. He goes through a journey in there. He shows some range. He's an executive producer.
He needs to come back down to earth then.
Okay.
Sorry, you're not.
I can't disagree with that.
You're not
he
Hulk
seems to be
Hogan.
the same character in every one of the big budget ones that he's in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's definitely playing Hobbs in Red One. There's, I challenge someone to tell me a difference between Hobbs and his character in Red One. I don't know did you catch his name, Charles? I definitely did not.
I don't know. Elf 1 or whatever.
Well, they kept making elf jokes because I guess
Yeah.
it said like elf on his arm, but he
And
wasn't
was
an elf.
offended. What did you say? Ugh.
You know, that's the other thing about this movie that really offends me. Like the dialogue is so generic. Every joke could be like, you could take every joke that Chris Evans says and take that joke away from Chris Evans and give it to The Rock, and take every joke that The Rock makes and take it away from The Rock and give it to Chris Evans, and nothing would change because there's no characters in this movie. There's just like a cadence and a pseudo style to it. It's like it feels like a fake movie. It feels like the movie that should be on in the background of another movie, like in Home Alone, Devils with Angels Faces or whatever the heck movie he's always watching.
That effect.
How much do I owe you?
$2.
Keeps the change.
Bronson Wright Wolf, what's up, my friend? The Rock made $12 million for Hercules. God damn, that's insane.
Hercules.
That's at least 10 years ago.
And I'd say that was actually a fair use of The Rock. I don't hate that movie. It can't decide if like mythology is fake and The Rock is just a really big man, or if mythology is real. And the fact that it can't make up its mind kind of ruins the entire movie. It's kind of a weird experience.
I don't know what the. I mean, this is studios just getting their shit pushed in all the time, but I don't know who thought that.
Good visual.
I don't know who thought that. Yeah, let's remake the Schwarzenegger movie that, is kind of a cult movie because
He wrestles a bear.
But,
Oh no,
like,
that's
Hercules in New
Hercules.
York.
I apologize. I got my Hercules mixed up. Go ahead, though, Charles.
so it's not like it was Back to the Future. It's this movie from the 80s that it's well known. Yeah, but is it known for making money and having a following? No. So put $12 million. What I just don't understand what what they deserve it. What the fuck?
Well, this is even wilder. He made $5 million for the Scorpion King. Are you saying the Mummy, the Scorpion King, or the movie, the Scorpion King?
So that's the franchise that was spawned from the Mummy Returns. Come on, stay with us.
Oh wait, so that's not Mummy 2. That's
that's the
movie,
franchise
the
that was spawned from his CGI stint in the Mummy 2.
That I can understand a little bit because he was huge in wrestling at that point. Like he was Hulk Hogan in 2002 or whatever.
But wrestlers were not making that kind of money either. So I mean, that's huge for a wrestler to make that kind of money outside of the business.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing like a WrestleMania, some super special show, you might get that on a payday. But
he was worth that back then because he would have headlined a WrestleMania. So that makes a little bit more sense back then.
Charles, slight tangent. So Lindsay had mentioned that any of the jokes in here are fungible, I guess you'd say, like they can be interchanged anywhere. Do you think that is a sign of bad comedy, joke fungibility?
Ooh, look at that face. He's got
Or
thoughts.
is that a sign of real comedy that, the jokes are so good anybody could say them?
Oh, wow.
Well,
I'm not sure about that, but I do know that interchangeable dialogue between characters, like Lindsay was talking about, is a really good sign of second and third drafts.
Yes. The Avengers movies are definitely guilty of that. I guess that's a kind of a Whedonism because Whedon, just like a lot of his stuff is on the fly. But there was I once saw a really good video entirely about Scarlett Johansson's line of when Tony Stark's bringing in the big like worm flying thing in the Battle of New York, and he's like, "I'm bringing the party to you guys," and Scarlett Johansson's like, I don't see how that's a party. Like, I think it was like a whole 20-minute video just about that line of dialogue and about how that line of dialogue could have been said by literally anybody because it was so generic. I think that's just a weird part of modern filmmaking when you're on that level of blockbusters because everything is just, I don't know.
I don't think writing comedy for film and performing comedy for film are on the same level. Since I don't know, Richard Pryor. He might have been the last one to be able to both perform it and write it. Maybe Mel Brooks, but not in the last 20 years. So you can get a decent actor to sell something funny, but I don't know what. It's difficult. A case by case basis. My good old faithful.
I think it's a symptom of writing not getting the respect it needs, I don't know. It feels like just say something, just be creative on the spot, or like the bad improv that The Rock does in movies like Baywatch and Jumanji.
But the other end of that is Ghostbusters 2016, which is
more bad improv.
That is an abortion of film. There's no script. It's just like
you do
just
know
riff.
that Rock has a personal writer for all of his improv.
Well, another person
that guy needs to get fired. Yeah,
robbing
paid
people
way too much. Yeah, Jesus.
He's there for the milk, just like everybody else.
Has anyone else seen Baywatch here but me? I don't think that movie had a script. I think every scene
saw it.
was. What'd you think? What did you think?
I thought the jiggle physics was fine.
I guess that's the only important thing. That movie was.
Yeah,
so
I wasn't too
bad.
worried about the script on a movie like that. It's just that's not why you watch it. You're not looking for a Hamlet style performance, but it's the same sort of thing that that Rock put into a lot of his other movies. It's just, let's do the buddy cop thing with the junior assistant cop who's brand new to the beat. It's what was that one? The Rundown. He's been trying to remake The Rundown ever since he made The Rundown.
That's 20 years old, that movie.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And
that's why it's ripe for the remake.
If you look at Red One, he's got himself a junior appointee. You look at the Baywatch, he's got himself a junior appointee. You look at any of the movies he did with Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's the junior appointee that joins up the guy with experience.
The thing with the thing with all right. So the thing with Red One is he's the retiring, too old for this shit guy who's
wait, he's Danny Glover now,
essentially, but Danny Glover in fantabulous shape.
Well, remember in this movie he has given up
Glover
on humanity because of capitalism and things like that, but the story for some reason gives him faith in humanity again, even though nothing about the story is faith in humanity.
The naughty list is the largest it's ever been.
Oh,
wow.
I mean, kind of makes sense.
And we're calling them jokes, but like, is it even a joke when the
film?
quote unquote jokes are lines like, "That's a reindeer. That is a reindeer. That's a reindeer. You're a polar bear. I am a polar bear. You're a polar bear." It's just like, this isn't comedy. You're just.
I'm not
pointing
saying.
things out.
I don't know. You're pretty funny.
Good dialogue.
Well, I mean, I'm amazing.
Sometimes I state the obvious. I might be saying some bad dialogue in my own life.
What if you said it with a New York accent? Because you're kind of sketchy.
Yeah, scam. See, now get over here. You're a reindeer. Yeah, so that's what you are. Yeah, I'm over here in Santa Claus to the North Pole. I don't know. I'm a South Park
1930s?
character now.
Yeah, I didn't say a Chicago gangster from 1932.
Look, I'm either. This is the thing with voice acting in me. I'm either incredible and I nail it, or I'm like 5 or 6 different accents like bleeding together, and it's terrible.
You're correct.
That's
This
why
is
I'm
a reindeer.
That's why I'm so good at running Dungeons and Dragons, because I try to do a nefarious accent for my villains, and it very quickly slips into comedy.
So you thought you were going to sneak up on me, eh? Huh? You didn't think about my protection spell I had going on, did you?
Don't encourage each other. Awful.
Okay, so if you had to give Red Notice a grade, what would you give it, Charles?
Red Notice?
No, Red One.
His other Red Trilogy movie.
Yes, the third in the trilogy, Red Wine.
I rated Red One on Letterboxd and I gave it half a star.
Oh, so it doesn't even get a red one?
No.
Mm.
For this money, no.
Okay.
No. I'm sorry.
I 100% agree.
Lindsay, I was going to say, what's your score? But you're going half a star as well?
Well, I mean, I can you give a 0 on Letterboxd? I don't know. I haven't actually
no.
Letterboxd.
Half star's the lowest you can do.
Well, then I guess I would.
You're essentially giving it a 0.
Yeah.
Didn't Larry Kasdan's son direct this too?
Oh,
I love Kasdan.
I might be wrong.
Man.
He did a good movie once.
Yeah. Larry did.
A bunch of them.
Jake Kasdan, yeah, the same director as Jumanji: The Next Level, Welcome to the Jungle.
Bad.
Oh, Bad Teacher. Oh, Sex Tape. Oh, that was a bad movie. A friend of mine was
bad.
I can see why you'd get him though. He has a working relationship with The Rock. He knows how the Iron Paradise works.
Are okay.
Yeah, but he's a Nepo.
I never saw the second one, but the first one's okay.
Oh, they're fine. They are like The Rock doesn't carry those movies. Don't you dare be fooled.
But I believe he got those jobs because he was born at Planet Hollywood.
So is this the one that we're over-undering on? Like, this has to be the big release next week, right?
Yeah.
$2 million.
Anyone taking the over on it? Does anyone think this is going to be successful next weekend opening?
Hold on. So the low end of the estimates for the upcoming weekend are 20 million. The high end for the estimates is 40 million. Our over under is 32.
think I'll take that, man. I've been wrong about everything.
Yes, I'll
But
have it.
I'll take the over. So because I've been wrong about everything, and I don't necessarily want this to succeed, I'll take the over on this one. But any of you guys feeling risky enough? Like it already got, what did you say? Like, was it 7 million for just one day?
23 internationally. It's out already in the rest of the world.
Yeah, I got to say, I'll take it. It's The Rock. It's Chris Evans. This is Captain America meets Black Adam. Let's go. Throw in a little bit of, everyone's favorite newspaper guy. Why not?
You're saying at least $32 million this upcoming weekend.
I'm going to go over 32.
Okay.
This is definitely taking that spot. That spot will no longer be known just as number one, but it'll be known as Red One. It's going to be amazing.
Are we talking
Oh.
worldwide here with the
Just
everything?
domestic. We are just talking domestic.
Okay. Because, if you include worldwide, I can see it going over 32, but I don't see it breaking 22.
I said
for-
32, not 22.
I
Although
don't see
you're
it doing that either.
22 in
wow.
just 1 day.
I predict the high teens by Monday for Red One.
Only high teens are going to see it.
But I'm bumped.
Which will be enough. I believe in America.
You still believe in America, huh?
I do.
Linzo?
I think this movie is going to come in at just under $32 million so that The Rock can spin the story as like, look, we came in slightly under the predictions, but this is a very strong opening. And then he can try and like politics people into thinking the movie's successful. But I think it's also going to fall off a cliff second weekend, although around Thanksgiving, it'll start getting a bit of a bump again.
So you're literally riding the fence on this? The over-under, you're like, nope, exactly.
Oh, I'm just saying it's going to make, I'm saying $30 million or 30-ish million dollars.
That's under.
So then you're going under now. Okay.
Fine, if you want to go with like
lean into the-
simplicities, yeah.
The game is
I know.
thing, not yes.
I'm being a dick. I think it's going to be.
The answer is maybe.
It will be
I also-
it will underperform.
Arguably.
Just
still
also when the movie does what I said it's about to do, I just want to be able people to point at, be like, oh my god, the movie did what Lindsay said it would do.
Fair enough. People will point at you.
Yeah, the game.
Charles?
The game is not. What does Lindsay think?
It should be
Exactly. Lindsay tells a story about what happens.
My local theaters have not sold any pre-advanced tickets for it, so I doubt that it's going to be any different on Thursday.
I think the thing that we're all discounting is that there's another currently in second place
doing
Christmas
very
movie
well. Yeah.
that's still in the theaters. That it's going to be some sort of cannibalization of family Christmas movies at the box office.
It won't be the only Christmas movie there either, because the best Christmas, you're talking about the best Christmas pageant
That's
ever?
what I was referencing. There's 2 Christmas movies to watch this weekend, and that one
but
is
only
doing
one has
all
The
right.
Rock and
Wait,
Captain
guys.
America.
And if you're on
And
Tubi,
Jay
you can
Jonah.
watch Jingle All the Way.
You can, yeah.
Can we
you can have-
imagine for a second living in a world where the Judy Greer Christmas pageant movie comes in first place over
It hasn't
the
happened
Rock? I know, but just like next week, like somehow like Christmas pageant beats out Red One. Like, can we imagine that beautiful world for a minute?
It can
Like,
happen.
I cannot.
you cannot.
Due to the competition, I'm saying that Red One does not. It's under 32.
Plus.
That's fair.
I'm sorry, I should be muted here. I'm
No
talking to
way.
myself.
I got to say, I'll take all your action. It's over
Yeah.
32.
I think it's
We're going to the
3-on-1.
moon on this one.
To the moon.
How far north of 32 are you going there, Gray?
At least 33.
Brave man.
32.5.
32.5, but we'll round up to 33. I have faith.
Christmas Eve in Miller's Point is taking over its limited release spots when it goes national. So
Ooh,
That
so we're
might be
getting 3.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
man.
that's VOD.
Cluttered.
limited. And Elton John, Never Too Late.
Yeah. It is for
also
me.
Limited.
That name is amazing because it's
yeah.
literally a 30 Rock joke. It's
Lindsay-
never too late for
Lindsay-
now.
There's a couple of color tags that are a little
Oh
behind.
yes. Yes. Adam Sandler made 20 million for Jack and Jill. Shoot
Well,
me in the
Holy-
head.
I think that was one
So
of the
how
last
mu-
ones. Go ahead.
How much did Pacino
Uh,
make on that? Like he has to be pulling in more than Sandler,
Wow.
right?
That's
Or
a
is that
good
production company and
question?
everything?
Actually, wow, was that like a $50 million movie where 20 went to Adam Sandler, 25 went to Pacino, and then 5 million was left for everything else?
It's one of those. Well, no, see, it's one of those movies where they got a lot of that money paid off in placement.
Oh, yeah,
Like-
the Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh,
and all
that
Dunkin'
makes
that.
Donuts
sense. I forgot about that.
offensively put themselves in that movie. So
Yeah,
I mean,
not
I will
since
say the
Wayne's
world's a
World.
better
Who
place
did it
because of
funny?
Dunkachino.
well, you
Oh my
both talked
God.
at the same time.
I apologize.
So I was just saying, not since Wayne's World have I seen like product placement that in your face, but they did it a little bit more funny, like where this one was just hooah, Dunkachino. Like I don't know, it was again in your face, over the top.
Yeah,
I mean, I still consider the Dunkachino thing the peak of cinema, but that's just me.
Dunkachino.
it's one
But
of the last movies before Adam Sandler signed that
yes.
deal. It
Where
was
he
that
signed his soul over to Netflix.
yeah to Netflix because
And the
Pixels
money
was one of them
launderers.
too, where it was just like Sony paid. I think Sony was Jack and Jill too, where Sony was Netflix before Netflix was Netflix. So people were paying Adam Sandler for late '90s money that just was not happening anymore.
So-
One more super chat from Marcy is we should do a hot take stream. That could
think
be
we're doing
fun.
it right
That would be
now.
awesome.
I mean, every
You're
time I
watching it.
talk, it's a hot take because I'm just that hot.
It may be in the works. Who knows?
Mhm.
I'm always full of hot takes, but I put them in the private chat.
There you go.
Yeah, we're not sharing those
Do we
hot
want to
takes.
talk about the older movie of the week here, Charles, or is there another subject you want to try and tackle right now? How
What
you
is the
feeling,
older
buddy?
movie of the week?
Mild
The Rent
ass.
and Rant, sir.
The Rent and Rant. We need a
Ciao.
no.
Oh, not that.
No, it's motion.
Oh,
or
yes. No, you're
motion.
correct. You're correct. Where to go? Where to go?
Rent and Rant.
A special thanks to Charles for being an amazing human being and making that. It is gorgeous and beautiful.
That clip is 3
Indeed.
years old.
Well,
Even
3
still.
years ago, you made something beautiful, sir. We
Black
still see
Christmas.
its beauty.
Black Christmas 2019 and a Neil Breen film were definitely in the wall of films playing. I don't know if you were looking for that there. In your
That was
Where's
Black
Waldo?
Christmas 2019. I was like, what is that? Okay, that's funny. But yeah, welcome to the segment where we talk about a movie that's not quite in theaters right now, but it's on streaming and you can rent it or you can rant about it. Or I guess we're gonna rant about
We're
it.
doing both.
We're gonna, yeah, I guess.
It's on Prime, which
it is.
it was here.
Mhm.
So if you have Prime, you can watch it right now, or you can. Yep. You
I wish
can-
I knew about we were going to talk about it. I would have watched it today.
Aren't you in the green room?
Yeah, but I'm not on my computer all day on Sunday. I take a little bit of a break.
Mm.
So
Oh, all right.
Hmm.
Well, the information was there, sir. You just needed to check in.
fine,
time
fine.
we'll-
Treat me like The Rock.
Well, did
Okay.
you see it, Greg?
Sir, we posted
I have.
something,
Okay.
sir.
It was recommended to me as like one of the funniest comedies of the year. So I actually ended up seeing this one a little while ago in theaters, and I don't dislike this movie, but I think I was just sold like it's gonna be like this amazing comedy, and I don't feel like that's really the genre that this thing belongs in. There's
No.
some funny moments, and they're mainly when Aubrey Plaza is on the screen, but no, I just wouldn't build this as a comedy. It would be like something romantic comedy, maybe.
I mean,
But
it's delightfully funny. It's throughout it, not just when Aubrey Plaza was on screen, but through the whole movie. I was kind of chuckling here and there at all the little interactions and things like that. I really enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, I'm assuming you did too, Charles. We all seemed pretty excited about it.
I did.
Mhm.
I feel like this is a good gateway drug of sorts because it's got this butterfly effect sort of sci-fi angle to it, where
Mhm.
there was points where I was like, are they going to explain, like, does she have to get high to summon it? Like, are they going to tell us why? But it doesn't matter. Um, it's one of those
Correct.
things where it doesn't tell you why the thing happened, but like that's not the point. And if you're going to question this movie for sci-fi reasons, you might have a bad time. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's
It's
sweet,
not hard sci-fi. They're not
right?
explaining why things are happening. It's a little bit more like sci fantasy, where just this thing's happening. We don't know why.
Yeah, it's
Appar-
it's something where if a younger, I guess, girl,
Mhm.
or whatever, it's
Or a woman.
romantic. Yeah, high school age kid, whatever. It
I think
it's
I would,
Go
if
ahead.
I had to build this, it would be like sci-fi coming of age romantic comedy, I guess.
Mhm.
But it
Yeah,
doesn't feel like it fits like any one of those like super rigidly. It's kind of everything to me.
right.
I guess coming of age would be like the one genre I'd really like shove this in.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say Stand By Me meets oh god, what was that, the other Aubrey Plaza movie with the guy that's trying to build the time machine.
Oh, safety not guaranteed.
Yeah, it's Stand By Me meets Safety Not Guaranteed. That's what I was trying to say. Go ahead though, Charles.
Um, this is a movie that, like, if you're trying to get your girlfriend or whatever into, I don't know, watching The Butterfly Effect or something, this would be a nice palate cleanser. Like, here,
Yeah.
see how you feel about this, and then like it's the first step of getting someone, a significant other, into like-minded films. And I don't. It has a this like nostalgia thing to it, but it also has a bit of it has a bit of Chasing Amy LGBTQ blurring, which I'm so glad we have no representation on the panel, nor do we have any females on the panel to discuss this. But
As I've said numerous times, I am gay for Chris Hemsworth.
I think the fact that she opens the movie as gay and
Mhm.
closes the movie as what I would assume is pan, although they don't outright
Well,
say
we are
anything
I was gonna
about
say
that.
I don't know if there's labels at the beginning. Like she's definitely
Yeah.
interested in a female, but
She calls
I
herself a
don't know. She's
lesbian.
also interested in the dude. Does she?
Mhm.
Maybe I just misremembered her calling herself a lesbian.
Oh, I think the point is she's still figuring it out, and we're all still kind of figuring it out, like, as we go. And like that's why, like, at the end of the movie, it's not just about what's her name learning from Aubrey Plaza, but Aubrey Plaza has actually grown and has like learned from her experiences in the past. It's we're all like we're to get artsy and pretentious, like we're all paintings that are never going to be finished. Like we're all constantly evolving and changing. And I think one of her lines about that actually really sums it up really nicely, where she's like, so I'm gay, but I also might be bi now, or pan, or maybe I'm straight, because she's like admitting to the guy that I'm into him, but she's never said that to a guy before. So it's all just kind of about the experience and growing and learning about yourself in a way, I think, which is kind of why it's so beautiful.
I
Uh,
I don't know. My millennial brain
mhm.
has just been canceled out because I saw a couple of videos recently where they said that Chasing Amy is quite offensive, and I was like, oh, all right, what do I know?
Interesting. I haven't watched it in a while. I would be
Well,
interested to see what it's like now. But I also want to I almost want to throw out Aubrey Plaza even says, or at least implies, that she and so even at 39 she's still into women. So it's not like she's not gay anymore because she met this guy Chad, which, by the way, I love that his name is Chad. That's the worst name for any human being ever.
Take it easy.
uh
That
but
is short for Charles, you know.
I'm being a dick.
I'm gonna chuckle.
So like you're into guys now, you're into girls later, and then you're into both at the same time. It's just
It's
it's just
pan,
part
right?
of the
That's
painting.
Alexa, stop.
Alexa. Keep it to
You'll
yourself.
find
Alexa has a lot of opinions on this movie.
So I think it's really, this is a kind of movie that is going to be important to a lot of people
Yes.
because a lot of
Mhm.
people go through this whole figuring out their sexuality, and go from one to the other to the other to the other, and then back, and
It's
before
not
they
even that so much. It's just
well,
this like
Just
coming
about
of
growing
age.
up. Yeah.
I knew an artist who was, at the time that I met her, completely convinced that she was a lesbian, and she
Likewise.
wrote this whole wonderful thing
Based.
in a comic book form that, and then brought it out to her parents and went through the whole process of coming out and being disowned and everything else, which happens. It still happens, and
Mhm.
and I was like, I'm proud of you. Stick to your guns. You need to believe in yourself for who you are, and
Mhm.
be true to yourself as you go. And a couple of years later, she married her male best friend. So,
Mm.
she
Her
because
painting was not yet finished.
yeah, and people are allowed to change their minds and how they feel about different things. And in like this case of Elliot, she may still feel the exact same way that she feels, but it's important for her for some reason to marry Chad, poor Chad, and go along that journey with him, knowing full well that what they're going to go through. Kind of like
Well,
that sci-fi movie where the lady, Amy Irving, was not Amy Irving, Amy, what's her name? Doesn't matter. She was getting visions of the future in her dreams about losing a child, and she still decided to marry the guy afterwards, after the whole thing went down,
very
even
similar.
though she knew that they were going to
Oh,
lose this
Arrival.
child.
I
Yes,
thought you were
that's it.
saying Madam Web, but yeah, Rival. That
No,
makes
Yeah.
more
no.
sense.
Madam Web is
The
often confused with Rival.
the Charlie Sheen movie?
What?
No,
No,
not the
Arrival.
Arrival, not the
No,
backwards knee one. Arrival, the squid alien one.
Yeah,
Amy
Squid
Amy Adams.
Ostrich
Oh,
Alien. Amy
yeah.
Adams. There. I said Amy Irving. That threw Charles off.
I was thinking of Amy Locane. I don't know why I was thinking of Amy Locane, but
Well, and I recently did talk about the Arrival, the backward knees thing, man.
Mm.
It gets me.
Yes.
but
Yes.
yeah, it's something where it's kind of like ambiguous, and it is very similar to what you were talking about, Rosales, where it's just like, yeah, here I'm from the future. I can tell you this thing that you shouldn't do just to just to save you some sort of future trouble, and it's about like you need to go through that experience because it changes things. They don't go full Back to the Future with things, but it's and as much as I have like if I was expecting Back to the Future, I'd be pissed, but I didn't expect anything of this movie, and it was like, oh, this might really be powerful for someone, and right on for that. That's awesome.
And again, and it's like it's about so much more than just like, am I gay or am I not gay? Like the way that she revisits like her relationships with her family. Like there's so many little lines that Aubrey Plaza has to her little self about like, hey, you should be nicer to your mom. Hang out with her, get to know her. And then she's like, oh my god, is my mom dead in the future? And Aubrey Plaza's like, no, she's not dead. Just she's your mom. just
it screams that of a writer who's working through some stuff, or has worked through some stuff, and
Well,
is
she's
ready to
probably
put it
definitely
down on
yeah.
paper. Uh, I find the most compelling writing is the most personal writing that you can do. So if you can write
Mhm.
from experience yourself, you can engage with a wider audience. If you try to write to a wider audience, you're going to lose everybody. Red one. And but if you write something personal that has personal stories to it, or is about something that happened, I believe in this case, somebody, if not the writer, somebody around the writer really went through some troubling times discovering their sexuality, and finding comfort in themselves, and later went through and said, well, I wish I could have said this to myself when I was 13 or whatever, you know
Well,
and
yeah,
let them
I
know
mean,
it's going to be okay, if and be nicer to mom.
it's not even just the sexuality thing. It is the talk to your family. There's one little line that I'm around that age where she says time it goes so fast
Yeah.
and you don't even think about it, and it's like I couldn't relate to a lot of it, but like if I was talking to a teenage me, I'd be like, dude, soak it up because it cruises. You think it's slow, but it moves.
I
You're
disagree. I think
real
there's
close
so
with
much
that
in
be
this.
nicer to mom thing too. Sorry for
I-
talking over you. That was all I had to say.
No,
Lindsay, go
no.
right ahead, man.
No, go ahead, Gray. You haven't said anything.
You
in a
have to
second. Go
repeat
ahead.
it because
So I was just
Oh,
saying, Rosales was really close with that. Also, be nice to mom thing, and that's it.
Always be nice to your mom. But I think there's so much universe. Like, it is a very personal story. I'm not gonna pretend like it's not. There's definitely parts of the story that are definitely steeped in one of the writers, if not the one writer's life. But like, there's so many universal themes. Like, one of the moments, like when I guess it's a pseudo spoiler, but they fight. So the story is of this girl, and her parents own a cranberry farm. And she's about to go away to college, and she's not truly appreciating her family like all 18-year-olds do, and she's not really appreciating the beautiful farm that she lives on, again, like all 18-year-olds do. They don't appreciate their home, partially because they think like it's always going to be there and it's never going to change. But then she learns that her parents are selling the farm, and she's about to leave home, and she's never going to be able to come back, and the thing that she always assumed would be there isn't going to be there anymore. And like, there were so many moments of my life growing up when I realized, like, wait, my aunt that we had Thanksgiving at every year isn't with us anymore. My grandma is gone. That house that I went to high school in, I'm never gonna see again, or let alone live in again. Just so many little tiny little things. It's a personal story, but it's incredibly universal like that. Also very universal. Be nicer to your mom. Even if you're the nicest person to your mom ever, still be nicer to your mom, except for Charles.
shit. So in the beginning where they first meet, older old ass, cute little terminology they had for each other, old ass and
So
young
great.
ass.
Yeah.
When they were talking about like scars and things, I was like, ooh, we're gonna find out. Like, I kept waiting for one of those things that causes a scar or something to happen. And it, like, by about the 45-minute mark, it was like, I don't care because it's not that kind of movie. Whereas if it were some sort of different package, I would have been like, wait, we never got the toe. We never got the
They're not
toe
Chekhov
scene.
scars.
Chekhov scars or Schrodinger scars? I don't know which one. Chekhov. We'll go with
I mean, the
Chekhov.
scars are there. I think it would be the Chekhov one because it's a loaded scar. You got to find out where it came from.
Kind of like the indie scar on his chin that you finally get in the third trilogy.
I mean, that kind of could have been fun. I also feel like that might have distracted a little bit, because like the movie's very focused on one prediction that Aubrey Plaza makes, and it really determines the entire plot. And not the most important relationship. The most important relationship is Aubrey Plaza with herself, but the second most important relationship is entirely driven by the one piece of solid information that she gets from the future: stay away from Chad, because
right.
all people named Chad are bad people named.
What I'm saying is, like, I have too much Back to the Future brain where like, all right, they're showing us the like you said, Chekhov's toe, where it's like, okay, how are they going to make the picture of the toe disappear? Like, I have too much Back to the Future brain where it's like, all right, why'd they show us that? Is it like, and it's not that movie. There's too much, like, this precedent was set with this silly sci-fi comedy that this isn't that kind of movie where it's not important. It just isn't important.
Yeah, there's
And
a scene in this
hard.
movie where what was it Aubrey Plaza says? Oh my god, I had to eat so much weed to come back here right now. I don't think she said eat. I'm pretty sure she said smoke. Or maybe she ate a lot of brownies. I don't know. The point is she got stupidly high.
Yeah, like there's a go ahead, Greg.
I was gonna say, can I ask you guys, like, so do you view this as like one of the more, I don't know, would you put this on your list of comedies for the year? Like, is this a comedy or is this more of like a coming of age film? There's obviously like comedic value in there, but
It's definitely coming.
it was billed to me as top
Yeah.
comedy. And
I
I don't know. I feel like that's a little misleading.
You can be a drama while being funny. I don't know if you can be a comedy while being. I don't know.
Funny?
I don't know. Like, if you say comedy first, I better laugh a bit. Whereas,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask, what other comedies came out this year? There's Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night, which I liked, and you guys weren't crazy about. What other comedies have come out this year?
Are we talking strictly in theaters or are we going streaming? And then are we talking like genre plus comedy? Like would Deadpool work? Because if so, like that is the one of the year.
Oh, that's true. Actually, yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So I would say this isn't my highest ranked comedy of the year, then, just based off of that little. But it is probably my highest ranked coming of age story of the year because it worked for me, man. It really got me.
I love the film too. I think the one thing that got me was just how it was sold to me. It's like this is
That's fair.
So there was like a list of 10 top comedies of the year, and it's like none of them were streaming ones. They were all to theater, but
Mhm.
I don't know that I would have put this on that list. It's a really beautiful story, but it's kind of a coming of age dramedy sci-fi. I don't know exactly where I'd lump this one in. It's
Yes.
a really fun film.
So
It's got a little bit of raunch to it.
for comedies, I have If, Deadpool, Wolverine,
Mhm.
All
Inside Out 2, My Old Ass, Fall Guy. Like these
There's
are all like
comedic parts of each of those, but like
Right.
that's action comedy.
I
Like
wouldn't call those
you know,
comedy.
so there are some straight up comedies that we did get. Like I'd say Ricky Stenicki is one of them. There's a few other ones, the Pop-Tart movie, but they're all straight to streaming. But I wouldn't say that those are. I guess with the
Axel
Pop-Tart one, you could say that it's like parody or satire, spoof movie,
Call it bad.
and then comedy. But it feels like that's meant to be a comedy. And you're right, like with Axel F. I just feel like again you could say it's action comedy or something like that, where there are some of them that are straight up comedy. Kneecap is the one that keeps coming up. Stiff Kittens just put that in there. I believe it's an Irish film. I keep hearing that is like the one of the year. I have yet to see that one. I gotta check it out. But
Abigail.
yeah, so like there's some comedic moments in that horror movie, but it's not a comedy.
I mean,
I
it might
just don't
have the
think any
funniest
straight
moment
up
of the year.
comedies have got.
Those are fucking
Oh.
onions.
Argyle is kind of an action comedy. I don't think it lands, but fair enough. Babes is the other one that comes up. It's really a dramedy. So Pamela Adlon, the voice of Bobby Hill, directed that one, which is great. But I don't know that I'd say it's the biggest one. And Driveway Dolls. So I really like it. I understand why a lot of people don't. Straight up B movie, but there is a lot of comedic tone in there. Fall Guy, action comedy. It's not exactly straight up comedy. Kind of the same thing with Argyle from earlier. And then Hitman, that might be the straight up comedy of the year that I'm thinking actually went to theaters, but I don't know that I'd put this up as comedy
Netflix?
first.
Hitman was Netflix.
Was it Netflix? I thought it actually went to theater. My bad. Hundreds of Beaver. So I believe it's Canadian. It's different. I enjoy it, but I can see why it would turn off a lot of people. There's some interesting costume work in there.
Is that the idea?
I have no idea what the idea of you is.
No, I've never even heard of that
that?
one.
That's what's her name from that
That
film?
Yeah.
Dakota Johnson?
No, that's the other
What
one.
was that?
So for as encouraging. Oh,
Mhm.
Anne Hathaway.
Oh, Anne
For
Hathaway,
as
sorry.
encouraging as horror is,
Oh.
comedy is not. Comedy is
Yeah.
just not encouraging at all.
Lisa Frankenstein, again, I think there's some funny things. The
Mhm.
Mean Girls is a musical remake of the original. I don't know.
You cannot release a comedy. You can't release just a straight comedy. It has to be, an action
seems
movie
like
that
it.
has comedy elements. A romance that has, like, you cannot do There's Something About Mary today. You just can't do it. And release to
Problemista's
theaters.
kind of.
Sorry. go ahead.
Problemista wasn't the biggest film. It's some dude who invents like toys and interesting things. Ricky Stenicki did not go to theaters at all. It's just straight to, I believe it was Prime as well.
Dude,
but,
this list is offensive.
It is one of my favorite comedies of the year. You should watch Ricky Stenicki. It's one of the Farrelly brothers produced it. And then, Saturday Night, I feel like that's a dramatic, time crunched, real time reenactment. I wouldn't necessarily call Saturday Night a comedy. Would you guys?
It was funny, but not like, not by normal standards. By Hollywood standards these days, a comedy, yes. By actual standards, no.
Why are comedy movies paradox movies now? It's like, it's a comedy, but it's not a comedy. Well, what the hell is that?
I think they're seen as not marketable, which sucks because you can have a mid-budget movie that's, straight up comedy and you don't need as much CGI. I mean,
I made a comedy, but if you don't laugh at it, it's not really meant to be a comedy. So I'm going to cover all bases here. If it's not funny, it's not a comedy.
we've seen 2 horror movies that happen to be comedies as well. Lisa Frankenstein and Abigail. Abigail, I don't even know what the.
So Thelma's the other one that kind of comes up, but it's kind of a parody of, like any of those Liam Neeson ones, like the Taken ones. I did not see Y2K. This
Wait,
one's come
that's
up a couple
out?
times as well.
Is Y2K out yet? I want to see that.
That was limited.
Okay.
That never got much.
Because that looked really good.
I
Is it
agree.
limited? Oh, that's it.
Yeah, and I guess that's it.
So far.
Wow, what a list of great movies, great comedy.
And that's the thing. So you can see
There's
why
not
my
enough
old ass
movies in
is
the
up
category
there.
this year in the Oscars.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting, but there are some really fun ones that did go straight to streaming that aren't on that list.
Yeah. Wait
So,
a minute.
I
It's
don't know.
in the Academy. It's comedy or musical, isn't it?
No, that's the
Golden Globes,
Golden Globes. Thank you.
Hollywood
Globes,
Film
okay.
Press.
Yeah.
So
HFCA.
that
Like
so
XLF wasn't on that list, right?
Mean Girls would
for some
qualify
reason
both
Ricky
ways.
Stenicki was.
Guys, we got to be aware of each other talking. It's.
Sorry.
I mean, it's everyone. It's just I'm hearing. No, it's more me than I can't tell who's saying what. I don't know if it's my internet or what, but I don't know what they can hear.
Probably nothing. I'm probably making it horrible for them.
It's
But
not.
man,
Go
I don't
ahead.
even think like Axel F or anything like that was on that list. So there's a bunch of those somewhat big budget ones. I think Lyman had a couple of them too. So not only did he have Roadhouse, but then there's also the Instigators or something?
I think
Neither of
Roadhouse
those were listed on there.
direct to DVD.
That was Apple, I think.
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah, Instigator was Apple Plus, I think. Roadhouse was
And
Amazon,
Yeah.
but he wanted it to be theaters.
Yeah. Where I think there's a comedic element to each of those, but I also don't know if those would be straight up comedy. That is straight up cute though.
Rosella, show us your
Nice
pussy.
kitten.
Oh,
This is
look at
Adventure.
that little guy.
This is Adventure Kitty. Adventure Kitty was the first one to wander out of the nesting place where these things were hatched. And if I get them wet, they turn into little green goblins.
Awesome.
Enough of you. Go on.
So you prefer to keep your pussy dry, is what you're saying?
Sandpaper.
All right. So we've hit a disgusting wall. Where are we?
Not quite.
Oh, black pussy.
Yes.
Oh wow.
By the way, guys, Smile 2 has crossed $120 million at the worldwide box office. It's not as cute as that kitten. Don't get me wrong, but that's pretty cool.
How close is it to Folie à Deux?
Ooh,
It's
It's a good
past
question.
domestic, I would assume.
I think it's definitely past it domestically. That would be interesting to actually see.
All right, be gone.
Well, while we're filling time where those numbers are being seen, if you guys have already seen Smile 2 and you want to see some interesting content about it, go over to Lindsay's channel. Especially if you're over here, you might not know about it, but Lindsay did a very interesting video, part of Smile's promotion, where you literally have to be looking at your webcam and smiling in order to watch it. Lindsay made a really fun video about that. Go over to his channel and check it out.
I really appreciate that, Gray. Also, I felt slightly insane every step of the way in that video, but thank you, my friend. I really appreciate that. Very kind words. What was I doing? Oh, Joker Folie à Deux, 58 million domestic, 204 worldwide.
It's behind Smile 2 domestic.
It's behind Smile 2.
Which is weird because it's the best musical of the year and the second best musical of the year. I don't know.
Actually, like, no joke, ever since I made that video, Gray, I cannot stop listening to New Brain from the soundtrack. I'm actually kind of obsessed with that song right now. Yes,
Venom
Mr. Charles.
3 is comedy? I don't know if I would say that, Tiamat.
It wants to be.
There's a lot of comedy in Joker though. And I did not miss it.
I don't think there's, for as much as comedy was a solid thing in the 90s, it is not a solid. It's not even remotely close to being solid now.
No.
No, not at all. nothing is going to the theater. But the chat did point out earlier that the Fairley brothers are kind of getting back together for a new thing, and it's going to be a Christmas movie. So who knows? Maybe comedy will be back soon. I think it's straight to streaming though.
Well,
They're
yeah,
gonna
that
save-
movie where he becomes where Satan shows up when he writes a
Oh,
kid
Jack
like,
Black.
yes,
Yeah.
Jack Black.
The
The thing.
kid, yeah, the kid has dyslexia, and he writes
Mhm.
Satan instead of Santa.
I do
Makes
want to
sense.
see that. That looks fun, actually.
Very Little Nicky vibes.
I hope not. But fair enough. Fairley Brothers does kind of ride that line towards Little Nicky territory. So
Well,
I
there
hope it
is a
doesn't quite go
joke.
there.
You know, they include sometimes the best jokes of the film in the trailers when they do these things. And there's a line in there where Jack Black says, "You ain't never had a friend like me." Okay, I stole that one. Talking about
Wow.
the genie and 3 wishes and whatnot. And oh, hi, Big.
There's multiple layers to that because Robin Williams is quite
Mhm.
infamous for borrowing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for being dead.
Jesus
Well,
Christ.
recently, but before that, he would get inspired by
sport.
other comedians, let's say.
He was also very hairy.
Hi, baby.
Also, his daughter is actually a really good voice actor.
She's a director. She's drinking Lisa
I
Frankenstein.
was gonna say, speaking of Lisa Frankenstein, the almost comedy that was shown
Zelda.
up there. Yeah.
She's named for of Link and
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nintendo.
The Legend of Zelda games. But I didn't know that she directed that. Oh, I really want to see that then because
Yeah.
she's very interesting.
You
Lindsay,
should.
get on
It's
your
like a
game.
neon Tim Burton-y type of experience. I want to see what she does next. It is really neat for a debut film.
Fascinating. Okay, yeah, I definitely need to see that.
Oh, I should have you.
So some of the news.
Mhm.
I don't. Do I want a dog pile here? So, comedian Tim Dillon. This is an article in Variety. Comedian
Ooh.
Tim Dillon, who has a tiny part in Joker Folie à Deux.
What are you talking about? It's a pivotal part. Some might say he's the heart of the movie.
I didn't know you were
know,
going to say
what can I say?
part. I was expecting something different.
During an interview, he described it as the worst film that has ever been
Oh.
made.
That guy. Yes, I did hear about that.
Oh, you mean the comedian said a joke about the thing that he did?
Yes. I'm just reading words on a screen, Gray. I
No,
think
you-
what
you-
happened after the first Joker, there was a lot of talk like, oh, this was loved by incels. This was loved by the wrong kind of people. They sent the wrong kind of message, male rage, nihilism, all these think pieces. And then I think, what if we went the other way? And now they have Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga tap dancing to a point where it's insane. Oh, it has no plot. We would sit there, me and those other guys all dressed up in these security outfits because we're working at the Arkham Asylum. And I would turn to one of them and say, we'd hear this crap and go, what the fuck is this? And they'd go, this is going to bomb, man. I go, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. We're talking about it at lunch. And we'd go, what's the plot? Is there a plot? I don't know. I think he falls in love with her in the prison. I'm not even hate watchable. That's how terrible it is.
So I got to ask you one question. Does it say where this quote is from? And is it from his appearance on Bad Friends, the comedy podcast?
I believe it says Joe Rogan.
Oh, you're right. Okay, fair enough. I was going to say, I know he was
easier
doing
to
this.
swallow.
No. I just remember him talking about this, and like when he's talking about it, he's being quite jovial and he's joking. Like you can tell that he's not like, this is the worst thing that I've ever. Like this is a horrible decision. Like so. Have you ever been quoted like your comedy in like black and white, or have you seen it written out?
I don't know, Gray. Have I?
I wouldn't know anything about misquoting you or anything like that, but
Yeah.
I'll just put it this way: somebody could certainly not use the same tone that you're using and
Right.
make it sound a lot worse.
Sure.
So I
don't
thought
know.
it was the
I've
Bad Friends
quoted
one because
in
I was going to say
context. It was horrible.
Well, I watched it in context and I didn't get the feeling that he necessarily hates it because he also talks about the jazz that Todd Phillips is kind of doing with the actual performance. Like, it's about capturing this live performance. It's not about necessarily scripting it out. A lot of different people have kind of explained it as kind of like improvisational jazz of the movie industry, which is weird, but hey, that's why it costs so damn much.
But Gray,
Uh,
you know that with remarks like that, no, even if he is kidding, there's some sort of honesty in there.
Well, so I thought it was the Bad Friends one because I remember watching him in 2 recent interviews. One was on Bad Friends and then one was on Rogan. In the Bad Friends one, like literally he starts that, especially if you go to their clip of it, he starts it by, that movie was horrible and the way that they would have fixed it is by letting me direct the entire thing. He is coming off in this very satiric tone. He has this character that like he knows everything that's going on. He is the best thing ever. Part of his persona is that it is kind of this shit talking thing. I do believe he was doing some of that on Rogan, definitely to a lesser degree. If it was on Bad Friends, I was going to say like this is really taken in bad faith. If they're going to say like this is his actual feelings on this, but Dylan, man, I love the guy. I love how hard he's willing to go on this, and man, to be a part of that franchise and the Thanksgiving franchise, such a great actor.
Well, I have more respect for someone that can say something like it's a pleasant surprise in a stark comparison of like people just doing the 8-hour interview thing where they're like, oh, I had so much fun. I read the script and I was laughing the whole time. Like, shut up. Just shut up. Can you be honest? Like halfway honest?
Never.
Like,
half of his.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say half of his other quotes were like how hard it was and how he's not a good actor and how he had to like keep being comforted by like Joaquin Phoenix, like no, he's doing good and all that type of stuff. So like, I don't know. I don't feel like necessarily they took all of the feelings that were intended or the message that he intended to get across, and instead are taking these kind of more salacious things. This is what's wrong with it. It's the worst movie ever. I guarantee you, if you hear the way that he's saying it, it's not going to come off as he actually thinks this is the worst movie in the world. It's very sarcastic and deliberate.
I just think I have a bit more leeway or forgiveness. Like when you heard the Christian Bale tape where he was just berating the DP, where he's like, I want you off my set. And then I saw that movie. I'm like, this is pretty fucking good for something where they didn't want their DP anymore. Like I'd rather it the other way around, where just like, this is going to be terrible. And then you watch it, you're like, wow, that's impressive that they hated this, but this happened. Rather than the inverse, where it's like, oh man, we can't wait for you guys to see it. Really? It's called Red One.
I wonder how many times they called Red One Red Notice on set. Like that had to have happened, right? Like
I couldn't tell you. I only DP'd for a week before I was made to leave set.
More like Pink Slip. So the other news that Heretic, which came out this weekend, the directors left something in the credits, or during the credit sequence of shit. I'm not finding it. Heretic. There was a quote in the credits talking about AI. And it says, let's bury it underground with nuclear warheads because it might kill us all.
Wow. I'm surprised I missed that. I was just like, okay, no bonus scene. I'm out of here. I should have read the message. I just like words. I'm over that.
Yeah, I had the same thought. I usually Google when a movie ends when I'm watching it in theaters. Does this movie have a post-credit scenes? But the movie is so classy. I just assumed it wouldn't have, so I didn't bother looking it up. I feel silly now.
Apparently, it's buried in the credits. So
maybe no one noticed it until like
AI.
AI didn't.
Control F.
That's awesome. I definitely want to look for that the next time I see it because I would like to see this one again.
It's the only thing I can find is that the Heretic end credits thank Cameron Crowe and Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne, though.
That's interesting. Why Redmayne?
Go to Forbes and find out. Here's why.
Good old Forbes.
I mean, the movie's not wrong. Like, AI is just so useless and horrible. Like, not useless isn't the right word, but like, it's just, it's not.
Overlords are awesome. What are you talking about, sir?
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but I personally don't feel like we should be accelerating Terminator 2 into a documentary so we could be lazier drivers and filmmakers. Maybe that's just me, though.
Team Skynet all the way.
Oh, are you okay?
Let's make our lives easier. You know, not only can it produce amazing songs in the blink of an eye, where literally you have a 4-minute song in 30 seconds. I don't know how that works, but the AI overlord does, and it's amazing. Just wait till it gets all of our entertainment. It'll be amazing. We can all sit in those chairs, just daydream into a great future world. Yeah, I'm all for it. Skynet.
I mentioned this to Charles earlier that we live in a world where AI creates entertainment to be put on the web, only to have AI bots spam it so that it could get higher in the ratings. So basically, AI is entertaining itself at this point, and we're just the middlemen making it happen.
Yeah, kind of.
Well,
You're not wrong.
I don't
Depressing
trust,
though.
I don't trust Hollywood like at all. Like the thing that happened last year with what the hell was it? Sound of Freedom. The inflating your box office because of a weird pay it forward system that isn't technically people buying tickets. It's a funky way to make numbers look like something they're not.
Did you ever see
And-
the figures, by the way, on the average ticket purchased by someone through that system? They had it public for a bit before Angel Studios took it down. The average person was buying 60 tickets. So, like, think about that. Like, so that means I'm going to go to this pay it forward system, and more the average person who's me going to this, I'm going to buy tickets for people. I bought 60 tickets. How inflated is that? Like, that's absurd. Like, how do you even calculate that? And then at the end of the day, let's say like not all, and this is another thing that I think that was public, and then they realized, oh, this makes us look bad, so they pulled it. What happens to the extra money? If technically 500 million tickets get purchased through the pay it forward system, but only 100 million tickets get used through the pay it forward system, what happens to that $400 million worth of tickets that got purchased? Who gets to pocket it? The answer, Angel Studios. It's a way to make more money off of your movie by doing less. It's crazy.
But that's the problem. Whatever you
yeah.
give,
Oh no, it is. Yeah, it's a huge problem. Because
they built a
adding more
studio in
layers.
Midlothian, Texas, because they had that money, and they built a studio facility, and they built some outdoor sets with that, and it's all tied into this sort of park, if you will, like a kind of like a national park setup, but it's really a privately owned thing, you know. And now the Angel Studios guys do a whole weekend of Christian-y stuff on the sets of The Chosen, you know, where people pay $1,200, $1,200 a head for the whole weekend to go hang out with the actors and whatnot and stuff. So they found a way of making money without going to somebody else outside of, you know, in Hollywood to get the money to make the shows that they want to make.
be one thing or the other. You can't be both, because you can't get a discount for being a religious group. Sorry.
Right.
No tax breaks.
I like that they're doing it themselves,
I
and
don't
that
know.
they're finding a weird way to get financing. But I don't know. I will defend that crane push in and pull out that bookends that film. It's beautiful.
Oh,
I love the window shot.
It is a well-made movie, The Sound of Freedom. Just the issues pop up when you really start.
I'm not talking about the quality of the film.
Okay,
It's
okay,
just
yeah.
you show studios or producers a loophole, they will exploit it. And
yes,
just like we were talking about earlier with The Rock making
Netflix.
$50 million. Oh yeah, Netflix. I'm sorry. Let's see your paperwork, please. Papers.
Oh,
please.
papers, please.
My paperwork? My
Not
paperwork.
you.
Gray's paperwork. No.
So I guess I just realized, you know, kind of talking about this Christian film company making their own thing, and then talking about comedy. One that we didn't talk about that should have belonged on that list, maybe.
No.
You don't think so? I heard it revolutionized comedy, but
Go ahead.
maybe not.
Finish your.
I was just saying, like the Daily Wire in the last 2 years,
Am I
they did
racist?
put out Lady Ballers. They did put out Am I Racist? I've heard them billed as actual comedies. Am I Racist went to theaters. It in fact got pretty high in the box office charts. Is that the best-selling comedy of the year?
I don't think it
Other
has enough
than
jokes to count
Deadpool.
as a comedy.
Okay.
It's a
I mean,
documentary.
I could be wrong, but like I feel like it has about as many actual like real jokes in it as My Old Ass did when they were actually funny in My Old Ass.
I kind of question whether a documentary because they paid everybody to be in it, and usually documentaries don't pay anybody so that they can stay above board and show that they showed no kind of favoritisms in how they were doing things. So
Mhm.
sure, they paid them there so they could make fun of them. That's the comedy part of it. They
guess
they
that's true.
did not put words in their mouths. They
But
did speak their truths, but
part of the gimmick of that movie is look at how much these people charge to be interviewed by themselves in a room. Oh, look, this person charged $30,000 for us to fly them here. Like, no, you can't play the documentary role while you're doing some sort of, again, one or the other, not both.
yeah, and that's what I was saying to some people about that because it's not really a documentary if you're paying people. That's paid advertising is what that is. Um, documentaries do not pay people to interview them. They give their time. Maybe they do fly them in. Maybe they put them in a hotel. I'm not sure, but or they usually the documentarians
They go
fly
to them.
themselves out
Yeah.
to the people to interview them.
Mhm.
I don't think Christopher Reeve's family should have been paid to star in a documentary about their dad.
Yeah, it's just cloudy.
Yeah. I mean, the Christopher Reeves family probably got something on the back end, but like, I agree.
That's
Just like to
worse.
be there and well, I mean, assuming they have some rights to the movie because it's the story of their dad, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, that and whatever they paid him.
Right. I don't know, man. I
didn't leave
still
you enough
like the.
money? I don't know.
I do want to see the Christopher Reeve movie. But it's just astounding. I just don't see the jokes in Am I Racist? Like I see some of them, but like there's such gulfs in between, like what could be considered a joke and what's just I don't know. That's just me.
Do you see it far off of the other movies that we listed on here? Like I think
Yes.
I actually laughed out loud more for Deadpool Wolverine, but when we went through that like list of other movies on there, I think I laughed at Am I Racist more than Argyle, which is kind of supposed to be an action comedy. There's some other ones on there, but I don't know. It really is sad that this is kind of what the comedy in theaters is.
Well-
Again, My Old Ass is awesome. Like watch it, but I don't think you would consider this like a 90s or 2000s comedy where somebody is saying like this is a comedy, go see it. I would say this is more coming of age.
Let's just say, as a comedic writer with
Mhm.
with credits, I decide to write a film called "Is Immigration Really the Problem?" And what I do is just go
Doesn't
interview
sound
people
funny.
and show price tags and just do the same thing, but discuss Daily Wire and how much they talk about immigration being a problem. Just the same way they use race as this boogeyman. It's ironic that they take the angle that they do and say it's
Mm.
comedy, where it's just like you do the same fucking thing. Where do you get the nerve?
I mean,
Well-
they do have the reenactment with like the waitress and everything. Perhaps that's the part that I'm talking about as comedy.
part.
There's also that
I kinda
that plant
chuckled.
that I noticed that I sent in the
Oh,
chat.
Yeah, it's just whatever you want to call it. Let me know, and then I'll tell you if it fits as that. It's a weird documentary, and it's a weird comedy. How many points did you got?
I got them all, baby.
Enough. Well, thank you for rescuing us with the cat.
Yeah, that's a cutie. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah,
It
this
is.
Pumpkin. My
can
youngest
see why.
named her,
No.
and yeah, she didn't have the babies, but she's the younger sister of the one who did.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
yeah.
How do we get to talking about it?
Cats? Sorry, I married the weird religious movie making their own studio thing with our list of comedies. So I unfortunately shoehorned us into this weird thing by combining two things that we weren't talking about. I just realized one movie that I've heard revolutionized comedy this year, was not on that list that we saw, and it did actually go to theater, and it did actually make the top 10.
Where did it revolutionize comedy?
That's a good question. I think I heard that it revolutionized it because the Daily Wire is actually willing to put comedy in the theaters again, which we're not seeing here. Not since Borat has there been a comedy like this. Granted, I only heard a little bit of that, but that was kind of what I was being told.
A comedy where they show you the N-word in a book but refuse to say it.
Yep.
Edgy.
Gotta be honest, that was one of my favorite parts. I like the callback on that and his unwillingness to talk around it, but basically following through on the idea that was put forth to him.
Beacons
saying
of
kinda
free
like-
speech.
They misspelled ginger.
Yeah.
Something like that. But they keep going around it. They don't want to actually say what they misspelled.
Yeah.
Kind of, I don't know. To me, I thought that awkwardness was funny, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I felt like it had less teeth than like a South Park episode 30 years ago. The Randy episode,
Completely.
if you know what I'm talking about. But I guess by standards these days, it definitely.
But genuinely, what did it revolutionize? Because if you're like trying to push the boundaries and be art and like push the line, where did it do that? It showed you a book with the N-word that they couldn't say it.
I think it. So it is. The Daily Wire actually making some money off of putting a comedy as opposed to what they have been putting in a theater. So I guess that's what revolutionizes their pantheon, but I'm not sure that it does like the entire pantheon of movies.
Okay.
Well, for them, what they find revolutionary is, and you see this if you kind of watch a lot of interviews with this movie, is Matt Walsh in a man bun and those tight jeans to a lot of the certain audience members was the height of comedy. That's why the movie starts with like a slow walk of him down a hallway to get the reveal of Matt Walsh man bun. It's I don't know, man. I just don't get it. Like it's just lazy. I'm sorry, the whole movie was lazy.
There's comedy. You can absolutely exploit the left, but just
100%.
mentioning the left, that's not the joke. Like, look, I'm dressed like a fucking tea drinker that lives in Washington. Ooh, man, keep going. You hit gold. It's like that's not enough. If you're saying that for the Daily Wire, that's revolutionary. Okay, but if you want to be
Good for
considered,
them. They need to grow more.
that's yeah. I mean, it's certainly better than Lady Ballers. Jesus,
I think that's the only way you could say that it revolutionized something, because everyone's kind of compared it to Borat, where it's like, okay, but that already revolutionized comedy, and it was a lot more successful.
I get to play sports.
It created something.
If I get to put on a dress, what do I sign?
I'm just saying, I can't hear the phrase "my wife" without like thinking of Borat. So I don't know. I don't think there was any moments like that in this one, for sure. It doesn't seem on the same par, but hey, it's the biggest splash Daily Wire has made with comedy.
Well, I mean, like the big difference between Borat and Am I Racist is, when they made a movie, they actually went and filmed a real festival about crushing a Jewish egg in the streets of a Middle Eastern country. Like that wasn't staged. That was a real celebration. And then you have Am I Racist and everything feels staged. It wasn't a real celebration. I'm being.
but part of the Borat thing is there is an element of entrapment where it's almost like a like you always bring up Gray, yes, and where Borat brings a topic and he's interviewing these real people, and then they give some of their questionable takes, and that's the funny thing where it's just like, oh, this makes sense as this out of country character, but why are you, the American, saying this? That's why it works as like this taboo thing. I see
you
you
could argue
stirring.
he's trying to do that too. Ooh, no, not smirking. Just I guess
I said
you could make
stirring,
the argument that he's doing that with Robin DiAngelo, for instance. Like there is a lot of yes anding. Same thing with like the Race to Dinner people. Same thing with like those groups where he gets everyone to like yes and then to pile on to his uncle or
Right.
great uncle. Grant, whatever he is.
But they don't. Like that's
Well, the one lady goes pretty far with it. There's a lot of reasonable people who are like, I'm not going to do that. But the one lady says a big F you to him for his joke.
I'm pretty sure that entire sequence was staged. I could
Probably.
be wrong, but I don't think there was a genuine person in that in any
I
of those
mean,
workshops.
so revolutionary for Daily Wire, sure.
I
But
think that's where I'd go on board with them.
I'm-
Like, yeah, sure.
I'm not ready to put it in an argument with even as low a field as comedy is right now. I'm not putting it with big
Let's
budget.
just say that the Daily Wire has graduated from the 8 crayon box to the 64 crayon box.
That's a
And-
lot of crayons, maybe 32.
Okay, we'll go with 32. We'll split the difference.
Well, Charles, what would you rank higher? Am I racist? Dunkachino.
Oh,
Ooh.
I
I think there's memes in Dunkachino. Like,
Memes. Audience, you can tune into in the chat. Anything for Am I Racist to kind of put that better than Dunkachino, or are we gonna leave Dunkachino?
I'll just watch Salo instead. Can I just do that?
less depressing. I agree.
You know, a
Yeah,
movie I got the
T-Man,
weirdest
I see
hankering
you
to watch.
cooking there. But the
Oh.
issue with the exposing the left grift is they do the same thing. If it wasn't the Daily Wire making that movie, it would, if you just change the title to "Are Immigrants a Problem?" and then just did the same thing where he goes and interviews Ben, whatever the fuck's his name,
Shapiro?
Ben Shapiro. Yeah, just do the
Shapipi.
same thing, but have him interview people on the right. It's the same thing. Like, yeah, it's a grift, but they're merchants of the same thing. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's too much irony.
I thought this was only going to be airing in Japan. Hoo-ah.
Explain the whole commercial.
Yeah, I don't. That's bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
I think I just mostly just love the chocolate blend thing, because it's like, wow, man. You're an Academy Award winning actor.
Can I choose? Can I just choose to never have comedy again if those are my two choices?
Yes, you
Chocolate
may have-
blend.
Wow.
Oh, like
may have-
we're done. We're done as
There's a
comedy
lot
is
of people abstaining these days.
those are bad choices.
Dunkachino.
Funny.
Tiamat, I'm not having this discussion with you. The left is
just wanna-
atrocious. The left
I
is
just wanted
atrocious.
to
But if you
see
think
what
the
would
right
happen.
is the higher ground here, you're brainwashed. Check back any other week. I'll talk about how stupid and how greedy Hollywood is. But if you think I'm going to get into that argument, it's not happening.
I guess I'm just happy
was the
that
wrong
the
American soul.
Daily Wire and some other corporations are going to actually release some things to theater. Maybe there
Oh.
will be some kind of actual competition, and
Yeah,
That'd
right.
be interesting.
Right.
maybe that'll make some really good films. So people are going to try and do their best.
Even if it's
so
just
yeah.
A24, like just somebody scare them out of their fucking boots where they can't pay The Rock $50 million to make whatever the fuck Red One is. Like,
Jesus.
this is a joke.
For sure.
You know,
You know, I don't think was it out in theaters? Because I thought they were having the hardest time finding distributors for their films. The white guys.
Am I racist?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
The Daily
yeah.
Wire, generally they don't release their movies in theaters as the way to promote their website / they know they wouldn't really make very much off of Terror on the Prairie.
I thought there was a boycott. I thought there was a boycott and that they
No.
were blacklisted. And
No.
I
Somebody
want to say
actually
it made it all the
thought
way up to number 2, wasn't it? Like it actually placed pretty high in the box office. Granted, it was a weird time when it was released, but it made it pretty high.
It did all right.
It was top
It-
5. I
it-
think it was 4th the weekend it came.
Yeah.
out.
Was it 4th? Okay.
It was top 5. I remember that.
It did what it did. I had a thought. Where'd that thought
Yeah, but
go?
the fact that the movie that critics refused to see, they didn't send any critics to it. Like they play the marketing a certain way, but
So
there's some
when they-
truth to it.
They
It's
said they sent it to people. That was part of their marketing,
Mm.
was that they sent it to people and they refused to watch it.
I know
Was it a lie?
I know quite a few Rotten Tomatoes accredited critics.
That never
Where
got
sent
it.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Maybe they weren't high enough on the list. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I will trust your word over theirs.
I'm not saying that they're lying. I think
Yes, you
they're
are.
using technicalities.
You're saying
well.
you're calling them liars.
I did not say that.
Yes. You basically said they were liars. The Daily Wires are liars, and
The Daily Liars.
the Daily Liars is what they are. Is what you
It-
said. We have you quoted now. I'm going to clip it.
It's kind of
Maybe a super
astounding how bad some of the Daily Wire movies have been. Like,
We're not doing this. I
I
apologize.
know, I know, I know.
I
Like,
did this.
just in general, I just needed to say it real quick. Like, some of them are like just I just always need to talk about this. Like, Terror in the Prairie has such bad sound editing. There are scenes where
They
you can
bought that.
tell. Oh no,
They
no, I
bought
know, I
that.
know, but they still released it, and I could tell you the exact frame where sound effects end. Like, you can hear like they don't use crossfades. You can hear the as sound effects end before
Okay.
they're supposed to. It's incredible.
But the
Oh,
Wes
I-
Anderson-y superhero one with Carrie Elwes, that was all right.
I heard that
I
was
liked
kind of
one.
fun. I didn't see
They-
it. I
they
heard it was
didn't-
kind of fun.
They didn't produce that. They bought it.
Oh, well,
just
that's
like
why it's kind of
the-
fun.
The
Agreed.
school shooter movie. They just bought that.
Right.
That's some of this argument that gets really caught up where people talk about, oh, the Ben Shapiro produced. No, they bought it. They didn't say, here's what we want you to do. Make a school shooter movie and blah blah. No, they bought it at some festival.
No, but that's what
what I
Netflix
hate about the
used
left.
to do a whole lot before they started.
Oh,
producing
sure,
their
sure.
stuff.
But like,
And if they're going to
when-
build a library for their streaming service, they got to start somewhere. When usually you start with stuff that somebody's already done.
that's fair, but don't judge a movie like I'm gonna buy this can of Sprite. It has
Mhm.
nothing to do with me. I'm gonna buy it and I bought the right to sell it. Don't say that the Sprite is spewing my agenda. I just bought it to sell it to you. Don't like I don't like when either of the political spectrum says, "Oh, the Ben Shapiro produced." He didn't produce; he bought it. He's selling it to you. He didn't say, "Here's what I want you to do in this movie." He just bought it to sell it, to put on his platform. A lot
to
of
be
the
fair, even the ones that they actually did make, like Shut In, very bad still. Starring what's her name from Substance's sister, Margot Qualley, Rachel or Quallery. What's her name? She was in the
Qualley?
what's you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Maggie Qualley, right.
It's Maggie Qualley. It stars her sister, and she's good in it, but the movie is unbearably bad, man.
Right,
Who
so
else
they-
was in
they-
it? Frank Stallone.
No, actually, an indie darling of an actor who once had a very promising future, and then he started saying a bunch of really weird shit about Jewish people, and then people stopped calling him to be in movies, and then suddenly he's being thrown out of Hollywood because he's a conservative and has nothing to do with all the weird shit he said about Jewish people.
Mel Gibson?
No, another person.
Shazam.
No,
Oh,
another
okay.
person.
Oh,
Another person.
Next topic.
Yeah, seriously, this is okay. This is fun. I think that's all the big major movie news for the week. Anything that we missed, guys? I think we've got everything that we went over beforehand.
Mm,
You got anything coming up, Charles, on your channel, or are you just kind of wrapping things up because you're about to go on a very long plane ride?
I am a day plus away from hopefully being in the UK this time next week.
Oh yeah.
Indeed.
We're gonna get clipped for that, Rosales.
I think we're probably. What about you, Mr. Gray? You got anything fun coming up?
Yes. Videos eventually. Things take time and so forth. Ring the
They
bell.
do take time.
You'll enjoy it. But if you just can't wait till then, check out The Thinkers on Thursday, every Thursday on That Darn Kidda's channel. That's YouTube at That Darn Kidda. It's a group of people from like 3 different continents that get together, disagree about everything. This week, excuse me, I guess we're gonna be talking about food. We're gonna think on it, and I guess, diet as well. So, yeah, if you want to hear people from all around the world really disagree about that, and possibly a
Hawaiian
cameo
pizza.
from Charles, but maybe not. Tune in. It's every Thursday morning on that darn kiddos channel, The Thinkers. And if you're done after that and you just need more, why not stop by Rosalis's channel for Rosalis After Dark? Wow, it's 2 times the pleasure, 2
That's
times the
pretty
fun.
sick. That's pretty sick.
Go over to Rosalis's channel. Perhaps he'll tell you about what happens after dark.
Woo. All right, and what about you,
Or not.
Rosales? You got anything else coming up, or just more After Dark sweetness? Even
Well,
more
we've-
logos. Actually, I love that. That's awesome.
We've got Super Sunday every morning at 9 a.m. Central, where we kind of wrap up the week's events as much as we can stomach. And some of these guys are here. You could be there too if you woke up in time. You've got a standing invitation there, Lindsay,
Appreciate
and
that, sir.
we can bombard the interwebs with all of the
Woo.
zany madness that is. We're not as edgy as we are here, and we're not as edgy as we are on After Dark. So if you want a little more edge than you found here, please go to After Dark, because that's where you're going to hear the edgiest of the edgy. And,
The
watch us
edgy
get
lord?
canceled in real time. Sometimes we have people like Joker's Corner around to say the most nutty things possible. So you never know who's going to show up.
You got to wear your hat, Rosales.
Yes, my nice hat. Is what it is. It's my nice hat. I wore it on Friday. There's a clip of it on Twitter if you can find it. One of our good friends, Cole Turner, pulled it out of the out of his grab bag,
Oh, wow.
and showed it up there. So good times all around. I think can be had.
Oh yeah. And I always new and exciting stuff going on my channel. Check in every day. You never know what you're going to get. Something new, something old but remastered, something from this podcast. You gotta tune in to find out. Give us the last word for the night, Charles.
I may not be here next week, so you guys are on your own next time.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing. Don't worry.